Hello guys, this is your friend Naruto Multiverse 2.0 and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Sasuke becomes Hokage Naruto leaves part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. The retrieval team that consisted of Hyuga Neji, Nara Shikamaru, Akamichi Choji, Uzumaki Naruto Inuzuka Kiba, and Rock Lee had succeeded in retrieving Uchiha Sasuke to Konohagakure, the village hidden in the leaves. Sasuke's body was injured, but compared to Naruto, Sasuke's injuries were like comparing a finger to an arm. Naruto had huge scars from the two Chidori strikes Sasuke hit him with and a couple of large cuts. The whole team returned with injuries. Lee had a broken arm, Neji and Choji were critically injured, Shikamaru managed to return with a few cuts and scratches, Kiba was injured decently, but not as horribly as Neji. Naruto was actually in the worst condition, but it wasn't visible thanks to the Kyuubi no Yoko, the nine-tailed demon fox. Sasuke had a half-strength Rasengan rammed through his chest, and a couple of cuts and broken bones. Naruto had more broken bones than Sasuke, 2 full-power Chidoris and more scratches and bruises than Sasuke. Naruto's sensei Hatake Kakashi carried him all the way back to Konoha while the medics carried the rest of the team. When they arrived at the tower, as usual they said that they completed the mission. Sasuke, the precious Uchiha, was strapped to a bed immediately and taken care of. He was still unconscious. Naruto, the demon, had to walk back home and treat himself as the medic refused him treatment. He ran into Sakura on the way home. He put up a smile so Sakura could see that he succeeded in retrieving Sasuke. You did it. You retrieved Sasuke-kun. Sakura's eyes filled with glee. That's right. I always keep my promises, and I never go back on my word no matter what, cause that's my ninja way. Naruto declared. Can I go see Sasuke-kun? Sakura asked with hope. Yeah, but he's asleep. Naruto responded. Thank you. Sakura hugged him. Naruto smiled. Finally his life was improving. One day later, the minimally injured members of the Sasuke retrieval team gave the report to Tsunade. Naruto waited for Kakashi in their meeting place, which was training ground number 7. His emotionless face turned into a smile when Sakura came by, but Sakura had an unbelievably horrid frown. Uzumaki Naruto, I thought you were his best friend. How could you hurt him so horribly? It's a miracle all his limbs are intact. Sakura began crying over Sasuke. Sakura-chan, he hurt me bad too. Naruto was just about to show Sakura his scars, when she yelled in pure rage. Never call me that again. You hurt Sasuke-kun so bad that he's unconscious. You're conscious, your wounds are nothing compared to his. I wish you were dead. Don't ever come near me again. Naruto's smile quickly turned into a frown. The frown turned into tears. Tears turned into rage, but that rage was suppressed. Naruto turned away and left. He didn't care about missing the meeting, all he cared about was his broken heart, and he left to mend it. A couple of his friends asked what the tears were all about. He said Sakura hated him and told him she didn't want to see him again, because he hurt the Prince of Konoha, Uchiha Sasuke. Sakura went to Ino and started to tell her about Sasuke and Naruto. You know about Sasuke? Sakura asked. Yeah, Hokage-sama said that he should wake up tomorrow. Ino informed her. Well, Naruto hurt him so horribly that I told Naruto that I hated him and never wanted him near me again. Sakura told her friend. You told him that? That was low, Sakura. Ino responded. I don't care, he hurt Sasuke. Sakura said in defense. I care a lot about Sasuke, but you can't shout at Naruto like that. We all know he has a crush on you and you really broke his heart. Ino stated. I told you that I don't care. Sakura left Ino and went back to her house, and her parents congratulated her as they hated Naruto and thought of him as the Kyuubi. In the council room of Konoha a day later, Naruto took a deep breath and entered the council room. He was thinking about why they summoned him, most likely Sasuke. The village definitely couldn't stand by and let their precious Uchiha get hurt. I was summoned here, Naruto formally said. We summoned you here, as you are the cause of Uchiha Sasuke's current condition. Also, Uchiha Sasuke is technically a clan head, due to the Uchiha massacre, and that Itachi is not here. Since he defected, the success of the mission is quite alright, but the way that you completed it is not. We are aware that you used the Kyuubi and that you completely lost yourself and you were unable to stop before you severely injured Uchiha Sasuke. Koharu said. You could also consider Naruto as such since he's the last Namikaze, but you denied him the permission, because of the Kyuubi. If I could, I would rip your head off. Tsunade thought. I was in control the whole time, and I didn't have a choice. Sasuke was using the curse seal level 2, what was I supposed to do? Naruto argued. We are also aware that you used the Kyuubi in Nami no Kuni during an A-rank mission, but Uchiha Sasuke was able to stop you. Koharu continued. It wasn't Sasuke, it was Haku, the enemy. I would have killed him if he wasn't that boy in the forest and Sasuke wasn't even conscious. Naruto defended himself. Don't make false claims, Uzumaki. Koharu said, looking at him with concentrated, angry-looking eyes. No, you shouldn't make false claims. I read that report and it deviated from Kakashi's report. Tsunade defended Naruto. Evidence. Koharu turned to Tsunade. Summon Hatake Kakashi. Tsunade told an Anbu. A few minutes later. This isn't what I wrote. Kakashi looked at the report. What do you mean that isn't what you wrote? Koharu gazed at Kakashi angrily. See, you made a false claim. For this meeting I will remove you from the council. You will be placed with Anbu until further notice as you have clearly been altering mission reports and that is a crime that you may spend 1 year in prison for. Tsunade smirked, wondering what she would do to her. Koharu angrily stood up and left with her Anbu escorts. Before she left she tried to put up a resistance. You can't do that. The third made us his advisors. But I can. Senju Hashirama, my grandfather did say that if a council member is unjust, the Hokage may remove them from the council regardless of their position. Tsunade continued to smirk. We also have to deal with the Akatsuki. They will come after Naruto later and they will attack the village. They are likely incredibly strong if they have S-ranked ninjas such as Hoshigaki Kisame and Uchiha Itachi with them. They could cause plenty of lives to be lost all because of the Kyuubi container. Homura continued. Naruto gulped. He scanned the room to see everyone with straight faces. Naruto did not like where this was going. Tsunade also had a bad feeling. Naruto glanced across the room, looking at the council. Haruno Kazashi, Nara Shikaku, Shimura Danzo, Homura Mikitado, Akechi Itsuki, Yamanaka Inoichi, Inazuka Sume, Sarutobi Asuma, Hyuga Hiyashi, Senju Tsunade, Sanjo Masaru, Shirai Yuta, Akamichi Choza, Aburame Shibi, Uchiha Sasuke and the Anbu commander made up Konoha's council. You can't mean you're gonna make Naruto suffer for all the Uchiha's crap. Tsunade yelled. No, but I think we should banish the Kyuubi container to eliminate the possibility of Konoha being in danger against a couple of S-ranked missing ninja that could mean our deaths. Homura smirked evilly. Impossible, I refuse to comply with your idiocy. Tsunade yelled. She hated the fact that they were trying to go pin all of Sasuke's stupidity on Naruto, but now they were talking about banishment. That's plain stupid. Well, you have to. This village was founded on the principles that if the Hokage refused to comply with the council can overrule the Hokage with votes. Danzo hid a smirk. I don't see what this is all about, so troublesome. If you banish him, you basically give Akatsuki, the nine-tailed fox, the most powerful demon in existence. If they have that power under control, then they could easily throw any of the elemental nations down to the ground like they did with Konoha. Who knows what they have planned with it? What if they want to control the world? If they are collecting Biju then they might manage to do that. Shikaku explained the idiocy of Koharu and Homura. We have a plan for them. Danzo said. What plan is that? Tsunade yelled, still enraged. Well, since you are completely biased against the Kyuubi container, we cannot tell you. Danzo hid another smirk, while Tsunade resisted the urge to send him flying to Suna. Naruto's hope shattered completely and he resisted breaking down, as he waited for his doom. The vote started. Do we banish him or not? Yes or no? Homura said. Yes, because of putting Konoha in danger against the Akatsuki, and the inability to control the Kyuubi properly. Danzo said. Yes, my reasons are the same as Danzo's as they are quite reasonable. Homura smirked. He hated that boy, and he lost his only son to the Kyuubi and saw Naruto as the Kyuubi incarnate that had the power to corrupt people. Tsunade of the Sannin was an example, as was Jiraiya. Naruto sighed, already 2 versus 0. No, Because he is a loyal shinobi that has done nothing wrong and you lot are cowards without guts. Tsunade boomed. No, while what Kaharu-san and Homura-san said is true, what Shikaku-san said is also true, whatever Akatsuki is planning nothing good can come out of it. Aburame Shibi said. Naruto's heart lifted up, it was 2 against 2. No, you're troublesome, he's troublesome, this whole thing is troublesome, but it isn't smart to banish him and if we end up doing so, something bad will come out of it. Shikaku stated. Naruto was in the lead now, but the civilians had yet to vote. Yes, he corrupts people and is a bad influence, hurry up and get rid of him. Haruno Kazashi, Sakura's father, smiled evilly. He had gone to Sarutobi many times to remove Sakura from Naruto's team, but he refused, making Kazashi angry. He thought the boy was a demon, like the majority of civilian population. Yes, he should go, as we are no strong enough to beat the Akatsuki now since the sand and sound invasion has weakened us. Hyuga Hiyashi stated. Naruto's heart went down once again. No, as Tsunade-sama said, he is a loyal shinobi who didn't do anything wrong and has completed all his missions successfully up to date. He is a good person and it would be wrong to banish him. Sarutobi Asuma said. Yes, he is a danger to our village and needs to be gone. Sanjo Masaru said. Yes, he should die in a hole like the demon he is. Shirai Yuta, a wealthy businessman who hated Naruto for the Kyuubi, said. No, he's much more loyal than that stupid Uchiha he brought back home. Inoichi said. No, I agree with the Yamanaka and Nara clan's reasons. Choza stated. Yes, Uchiha Sasuke says yes. Danzo said. How? Tsunade asked furiously. Considering the state of the Uchiha the Kyuubi container left him in, it would make him automatically banish the container. Danzo explained. Tsunade growled. A couple of council members agreed with Danzo. Naruto's heart fell. He was sure Sasuke would agree to banish him, because he was a power-hungry fool. It was currently 6 vs 7, he was quite close to banishment. No, he may be the Kyuubi, but if Akatsuki gets him, it will be a repeat of the Kyuubi attack. Akechi Atsuki declared, surprising everyone. It was 7 vs 7 and the last vote by the Anbu commander, would Naruto stay or not. His mind knew it was a 50-50 chance. Yes, Naruto almost fell to the floor. Tsunade and the rest of the council voted for keeping Naruto, had the same reaction. Naruto would have been lucky, because Anbu don't show emotion. But the commander had an unbelievable bias against the Kyuubi as he didn't have any family because of it. Naruto's dream was shattered, he had to leave the village and could never be Hokage, he could never use chakra again either, and he would easily be hunted down by the Akatsuki. He would never know his parents unless he got a huge idea. Even though everyone he asked about it never told him, he would know. Tsunade was on the brink of crying, but she suppressed it. Okay. Then Uzumaki Naruto is banished. He will leave the day after tomorrow at the first signs of sunlight, where we'll announce his banishment to the rest of his village. Take him and put the chakra seals on him and make sure he can't reveal anything about the village. Homura evilly smiled. Troublesome little craps. Shikaku muttered. Later, Naruto's apartment. Naruto finished packing his few belongings and decided to begin telling people, when suddenly Konohamaru and his friends knocked on the door. Naruto opened the door. Konbanwa, good evening, Oyabun, boss. Konohamaru enthusiastically said. Sorry Konohamaru, but I gotta tell you something. Naruto gloomily replied. What is it, boss? Konohamaru asked with the same enthusiasm. I've been banished from the village, I can't come back after the day after tomorrow. Naruto stuttered. What? I'll kill whoever authorized this, namely the old Baa-chan. Konohamaru yelled. His friends wore an expression between shock and anger. Calm down, Konohamaru. Naruto placed his hand on the 8-year-old's shoulder. Calm down, how can you be so calm? You just got banished from the village. Konohamaru yelled again. It's because I know there's nothing I can do about it. And you don't need to kill Ba-chan, she didn't want me to go, but the council introduced this thing, where the majority wins. Naruto stated. Naruto grabbed his headband and made a slash on the leaf sign. I'm not a shinobi of this village anymore, tell that to everyone. Naruto told the Konohamaru Corps. The hospital the next day at the morning. What happened and why am I in the hospital? Sasuke groaned. Sakura was at Sasuke's side. That no-name loser called Naruto got banished. Sasuke-kun, caused he hurt you so bad that he was exiled. But don't worry Sasuke-kun, I'm here with you. Sakura shouted in joy. Naruto, banished. I always knew he was a dobi. I need power and that no-name dobi has too much. Sasuke got up from his bed. Maybe we can go out together. Sakura said. Yes. Now that Naruto's not disrupting my plans, Sasuke will finally see me. Shut up Sakura, I need power. Sasuke jumped out the window. Ichiraku Ramen. The second people to know outside the council were Tsuki and Ayame. They banished you. Tsuki yelled out, surprised by the whole thing. How could they? Ayame yelled in fury. Sorry, but there's a chance I won't ever return to Konoha again, so I guess this is my second last meal in Konoha and my last in Ichiraku. Naruto stated. Naruto was given a buffet pass for free, so he ate all the ramen he could as it was the last time he would be in Ichiraku Ramen. Goodbye Ayame Ne-chan, Tsuki-san. Naruto waved goodbye as Tsuki and Ayame broke down. Meeting place 5 p.m. 13 hours before banishment. Naruto had called for one last meeting and told Konohamaru and his corp that they had a mission, which was to round up all the members in Iruka and tell them that he was banished. Konohamaru did so. Everyone came, except Kakashi, Sasuke and Sakura. All of them were more or less angry with the council. Each of them gave Naruto a present, not including Konohamaru and his corps. Closing parenthesis. Team 10 started. Asuma gave him cigarettes for some odd reason and told him not to smoke until 16. Ino gave him a few special flowers from her shop. Choji gave him 3 bags of potato chips, and Shikamaru gave him a set of shogi, telling him if he ever found anyone to play with he might as well play with them. Team 8 went next. Kurenai gave him a book. It was called 99 Ways to Beat Up Perverts. Naruto grinned at the title. Shino gave him an encyclopedia on bugs, telling him to remember him by it. Kiba told him that it was stupid that he got banished and he might as well enjoy life as a civilian since he didn't have a choice, and gave him a copy of the collection of paw prints that he collected. Hinata gave him a taijutsu scroll, shyly telling him that if he came across bandits or robbers he could fight against them better. In reality she was just trying to protect Naruto. Team Guy was the last and they noticed the absence of Kakashi. Kakashi was obviously told, but he only cared about his precious Uchiha. Sakura was in a tantrum and Sasuke didn't really care. This is most unyouthful that my eternal rival is not here, his fires of youth have been dampened, and we will train 3 times harder so our fires of youth are not dampened. Guy declared. Hi Guy Sensei. Lee. Guy Sensei. Lee. Guy Sensei. Lee. Guy Sensei. Lee and Guy finally separated after a fatherly hug. Train with fires of youth Naruto-san. Guy handed out a green spandex. Thanks Guy. Naruto took the green spandex out of the hand. Naruto-san, the fires of youth burn within you. Lee held out a book. How to Train with the Fires of Youth, was its title. Thanks Lee, Naruto replied. Uzumaki-san, I defied fate thanks to you and you were a wonderful person, I will miss you. Neji held out cookies that he made himself. We may not have known each other well, but I know you were a prankster and I'll miss you too. Tenten gave Naruto a case. He opened it and found a sword. It was well made, with high quality metal. Naruto immediately stabbed his hand. I'm leaving now, but I'll be back, not to come back to the village, but to make the council suffer. Naruto declared in an angry tone. Everyone who knew Naruto was shocked. Naruto was a smiling, silly ninja, who was naive and thought he could save anyone. He never thought of revenge, that fell into Sasuke's line of thinking. Iruka was the last one to say goodbye, and they all took turns hugging him and saying their goodbyes. They all swore to annoy the council members against Naruto at every possible time, even Shino. He threw his orange jumpsuit on the ground as a memento of himself. When everyone left, Naruto packed everything in his bag and rested a little. -2 hours later 8 p.m. Tsunade-sama stopped drinking. Shizune the apprentice to the Sannin yelled. Always taking people away. I don't wanna live in this stupid village anymore. I refuse, so I decided that I'm leaving and protecting Naruto. He's almost like a son. He's the closest thing I have to a family besides you. And I'm not leaving him to rot against the Akatsuki. We're both part Uzumaki and we are connected through Mito Ba-chan. So in a distant way, Naruto is related to my grandfather. Tsunade stated. Then what will happen to the leaf? You have to stay. Shizune argued. No, the leaf doesn't deserve me, I'm leaving no matter what. Even if Naruto is gone right now, I will find him and I will tell him about his parents. I don't care about what the council says, because he will be out of their jurisdiction in 10 hours. Tsunade yelled back. Tsunade-sama, what about the people? Shizune asked. They have my permission to rot in hell. Tsunade glared at her apprentice. Why? The apprentice asked. They're just as rotten as crap, you know Naruto's daily abuse, am I right? Tsunade responded. Yeah, Shizune had to admit that her master had a point. I'm leaving, pack your things Shizune, we leave at right before sunrise. Tsunade stated. -9:00 p.m. Gates of Konoha. Jiraiya-san, did you hear the good news? The demon has been banished. The guard Chunin jumped in joy. Demon. Jiraiya's fist hit the stomach of the Chunin and he coughed up blood. I can't believe those council rats, well I'm not staying here, I lost my only purpose to now. Even if it means missing Nin. Jiraiya narrowed his eyes. Sorry Minato, but the council has made chaos and therefore nothing ties me here, not duty, not responsibility, not anything. Jiraiya decided to get some information about the banishment and also decided not to miss the chance to peep his last time in Konohagakure. 12 a.m. Hokage Tower. Sure his chakra was sealed, but he was going to go through every last one of Ba-chan's files of himself to find out who his dad and mom were. He was still quite good without chakra. He could paint the Hokage monument with an orange jumpsuit and have 12 Chunin chasing him. What couldn't he do without it? He snuck out of his apartment and got to the Hokage Tower. 4 Chunin were guarding it, it was quite simple to get past them. He snuck into the tower using a hole, which led him to the basement. The Hokage's files were at the very top of the tower and there were 7 floors. The first floor only had a Jonin that was working late and he was sleeping on his desk, so Naruto easily got to the second floor. The second floor was completely empty and the third and fourth floors were quite easy to cross. The fifth floor and sixth floors weren't heavily guarded and Naruto slipped past. At the seventh in the Hokage's office he saw 2 figures smirking at him. Why? But as he approached. Ba-chan, Ero Sennin, Naruto asked. Huh brat, guess what, we're leaving with you. Jiraiya said. Huh, but Ba-chan's the Hokage. Naruto liked the idea, but then the Hokage would be gone. Screw the village, and all the people. Tsunade said the exact opposite of what she was supposed to say, as the Hokage. What are ya gonna do after you leave the village? Jiraiya asked. Huh, I never really thought about it, my original plan was to go to Tazuna and Inari, but now that Ero Sennin's here I can be a ninja. First I wanna know who my parents are. Naruto stepped forward. Parents? Jiraiya was slightly surprised as he thought the lie he gave would shut him up. Flashback. Ero Sennin, who were my parents? Naruto asked. Just go back to your toad training. Jiraiya sighed. No, I will bother you and put posters up about you being a perverted old man and spoil your reputation until you tell me. Naruto threatened. Fine, I don't know your parents. Jiraiya replied. Naruto grumpily turned away. End of flashback. Take this. Tsunade gave him 2 letters. Jiraiya automatically put his hand on Tsunade's wrist. You can't be serious. Jiraiya said. I am. I think he deserves to know. Delaying it would be delaying the inevitable and he'll never get these again tomorrow. Tsunade stated. You win. Jiraiya turned around in defeat. Naruto began to read. He took the letter out of the envelope and began reading the first letter. Son, if you are reading this now, Jiraiya-sensei has deemed you ready. I am your father. I don't have much time to write this, but please forgive me for sealing the Kyuubi into you. I didn't have a choice, I can't force another parent to make a sacrifice I can't make myself. And as Hokage I must protect the village. Sarutobi should have taken care of you and Kakashi should have also taken care of you. Jiraiya is out on a large mission and likely didn't come back until you are 12. Since you have this letter, you have permission to take full control of the Namikaze estate. My last wish is that others saw you as a hero who helped defeat the Kyuubi. You are allowed to take the Hiraishin scroll from the estate and the Rasengan scroll, in case you haven't learned it already from Jiraiya. You also have the permission to take the rest of your inheritance, hidden in the same place. To get there, simply look for an inscription that says, Skill, in the upper rooms. I haven't told Kakashi that you are my son, but I did tell him to take care of you. I had a great deal of enemies and I wanted to wait till you could defend yourself before knowing. Goodbye, I hope you forgive me someday. Namikaze Minato. The fourth Hokage. Well, Dad, they saw me as a demon and they gave me a ramshackle apartment. And I didn't get a single ryo of that inheritance. Naruto grumbled. About the first half, the council took it from Sarutobi and spent it as soon as they got their hands on it 12 years ago. Tsunade explained, being Hokage or ex-Hokage, she knew these things. So, aren't you gonna read the second letter? Jiraiya questioned. Naruto growled at him and simply started reading. Sochi, if you are reading this now, the unforgivable pervert, Jiraiya has deemed you ready to read. Like Minato, I don't have much time to write this either. I wrote this in case of my death at the hands of the Kyuubi. Unlike Minato, I'm not naive and I know that you will be treated like dirt and you will be scorned by the villagers. I can only hope that Kakashi and Sarutobi can give you a comfortable home. You might not have any friends, because the hostility of the villagers, but I know that there are a few people who are reasonable and aren't hostile. Among those people, find a few friends that you can really trust. If things get out of hand and the council members force you out of the village, use Uzushiogakure as a temporary refuge, or the ruins of it at least. Long ago the Uzumaki clan built a strong refuge in time of natural calamity, but there was an earthquake which wiped Uzushiogakure off the map. No one except me made it there, but we were short of everything and I was scared. I was only 8 years old then, and everything was gone. I made it to Konoha and they took me in, since I was a member of a dead clan as far as they were concerned. I would love to write more, but I'm running out of time. As I said, go to Uzushiogakure at some point and claim your legacy. Uzumaki Kushina. Of the Uzumaki clan, I have a plan. Naruto began explaining his plan. I will go, and thank you Mom. -2:00 AM Namikaze Estate. So we're here, now what? Jiraiya stared at the huge dusty door. We sneak in, Tsunade suggested. No, that won't work, Minato was too good for that. Jiraiya stated. I'm a Namikaze, so this should work. Naruto took out his sword and stabbed himself and put his blood on the seal. Good work. I forgot that I was allowed in the Namikaze estate, so I could have done that too. Jiraiya said. No, you couldn't. Minato hated unexpected visitors and would always adjust the seal, and he probably adjusted the seal again to make sure you couldn't get in. Tsunade stated. Anyway, let's go. For the next hour they were trying to find the stone that had secrets engraved on it. Naruto took the chance to take some things from there, like journals, so he could know his parents better. January 8th. I managed to fend off the ninjas from Iwagakure again. Everyone including Shikaku and Inoichi threw another party to celebrate the defeat of the Iwa Nin battalion. I wonder when I'll see Kushina-chan again. Also Sarutoi wants me to assist some waterfall ninja next week, since more Iwa Nins decided to attack them. January 14th. I successfully defeated some rogue ninja trying to steal food at camp. They were easy to beat. Kakashi is improving, but as always, his stubbornness and arrogance could cost lives, so he isn't ready for Jonin. Maybe in a few months, but not now. January 25th. I'm the Yellow Flash now for some reason. All my peers are calling me that ever since I killed 300 Iwa Nins at the fortress. I don't even like that name. In Kushina-chan's letters she calls me Hedgehog and that's bad enough. Yellow hedgehogs don't even exist. Another party was held, due to my birthday. March 11th. Finally, after 9 months at the battlefield, I can see Kushina-chan again. My forces met up with hers as backup in the ruins of Uzu no Kuni as a staging point against the Rock Nins. Naruto flipped a couple of pages. Today was a horrible day. Obito died, Rin went into depression and Kakashi got his eye slashed and replaced with the Sharingan. I respect the words of Obito, those who abandon the rules are scum, but those who abandon their comrades are worse than scum. Obito, he seems like a good person, he's way better than Hatake will ever be. Naruto snarled. Here's Mom's journal. February 2nd. Found out I'm pregnant. The doctor said that it was too early to know whether it would be a girl or a boy, but I don't really care right now, but wait. In 5 months I'll only be allowed to do D ranks no. Naruto looked at a picture in the photo frame. There were two people within it. One had red hair that was so long the end couldn't be seen in the picture, and the other had spiky hair like him, but he had chin-length bangs. They looked so happy together, it was a shame they died. Found the place, Naruto. Hurry up and get here. Jiraiya yelled. Naruto stuffed the books into a bag he brought for grabbing things that actually belonged to him. Yeah. Naruto stared at the stone inscription. Hurry up and stab yourself and trace it with your blood. Tsunade said. Okay. Naruto did exactly as he was told, and the inscription lighted up and the stone tunneled into the ground, leaving a pathway. The three followed the pathway until they came to a dimly lit room with two pedestals and a chest. The chest contained 250 million ryo in cash, and there were two scrolls on the pedestals. Naruto snatched the Hiraishin scroll, but left the Rasengan scroll, as he didn't need it. How do we fit all the money? Tsunade asked Jiraiya. We stuff it into our bags, of course. Naruto answered. Hold on, brat. You might fit 50 million ryo in there, but the rest is going to be sealed into my scroll. Alright, pervert, but if you spend a single ryo, you'll wish you never existed. Tsunade glared. Now all we gotta do is pack our things and head to Uzushiogakure. Jiraiya said, leaving the box empty. Let's get out of here. Tsunade said. Brat, let me remove that seal. Jiraiya bent down to Naruto's level. When Jiraiya finished removing both Danzo's tongue seal and the chakra seal, they had no further business doing anything here. So they all simply left the estate hanged, in case anyone saw them on the street. Gates of Konoha, 4:30 a.m. Are we all set? From here on out we are missing ninja. Tsunade told her apprentice. Are we gonna do what we did last time? Shizune asked. No, we're never coming back here unless we are Kage, and it's obligatory. We have a destination, Uzushiogakure, the land of whirlpools. We also have to train Naruto, because of the Akatsuki. Tsunade explained. Let's go. Naruto whispered, looking at the sky. He could tell the sun was rising, thanks to the light in the sky. He didn't want to be there for the banishment. You heard the brat. Jiraiya began pushing the great gates when they saw Izumo and Kotetsu approaching. Stop it. You have to wait till the banishment ceremony. And what are you two doing here, Jiraiya-sama, Hokage-sama? Shit. Move it, Jiraiya. Tsunade pushed her teammate out of the way and forced the doors open. Stop it, Hokage-sama. You are not allowed to leave the village. Stop or I will call the Anbu. Kotetsu shouted. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, shadow clone technique. Naruto, sensing the danger, catapulted himself through the gates and into a huge forest. Damn, brat left us to fend for ourselves. Tsunade groaned. A couple of Anbu surrounded the two Sannin. Surrender now and you will not be hurt. The Anbu leader said. In your dreams. The Sannin began to fight them. Kaden. Enden fire release. Flame bullet. Jiraiya spat out a large fireball while Tsunade punched the leader into the ground, making him break a couple of bones. What chance do we have against two Sannin? One Anbu said, making the rest flee. If I know the kid, he's already pretty far from the 5-minute head start, and if he went by catapulting himself then he didn't leave a scent. Jiraiya informed his teammate. We gotta find him. We have the map to Uzushio. The three left to find Naruto. The Great Forest, 4:40 a.m. Naruto sat down to rest and sent a few shadow clones to guard the area, when he and his shadow clones sensed 3 chakra natures. Then he saw 2 figures. Damn it, Ba-chan, Arrow Sennin, hurry up and find me, I won't manage against 2 Akatsuki members. Naruto, come with us. Itachi spoke to the figure carrying a big backpack. In your dreams. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, shadow clone technique. Naruto created 80 clones so Itachi couldn't risk using Tsukuyomi or Amaterasu. Kisame and Itachi dissipated all the most of the clones until they were striking at the real one. I'm finished. Sorry mom, sorry dad. Just as Itachi was about to strike at Naruto with a kunai, the whole area illuminated and Itachi was hit by a huge lightning bolt that nearly killed him. The same happened to Kisame. They fled. A person appeared after the light faded. The person had brown hair that was spiky and he had custom body armor with a shiny katana. Telling by his face he was at least 40 years old. Who are you? Naruto hesitated to ask thanks to the overpowering aura around him. No, who are you? Judging by your techniques you are likely a ninja, but no forehead protector, meaning that you are exiled and you got rid of the chakra seal. The man said. I'm Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto answered, still scared. That was because he didn't know the man and he was so powerful he would likely wipe the floor with him. I'm Kazuki, the man replied. So what's Minato's kid doing outside of Konoha banished for some reason? Kazuki asked. You knew my dad? Naruto asked. Yup. Minato went to the academy with me. Kazuki replied. Then aren't you supposed to be with Bastard Leaf? Naruto asked a question. No, I supposedly died in the Third Shinobi World War. Kazuki explained. Why didn't you go back to the Leaf? Naruto asked. I didn't want to. I was healed by a traveling medic who was quite good at medical ninjutsu, and she was also a young one, around 30 years old. I left and started to roam around until I signed a summoning contract with the wolves. I stayed in their domain for 2 years and then started traveling. After that I wanted to get stronger and learned how to handle a sword under a skilled swordsman. It took 2 years to fully do that and I became good with the sword. I then improved my Fuinjutsu under another master of Fuinjutsu and that took 1 year. I was 26 then. My dream was to make my own village and I didn't want any affiliations. I went under Genjutsu training until I was 28 and Ninjutsu and Taijutsu training until I was 30. I continued to travel the world and became very knowledgeable about it and its hate. By the time you were born, I had absolutely no will to return to Konoha. Kazuki told his story. I'm gonna wait a bit till Ero Sennin and Ba-chan come here. Naruto said. I'm gonna wait too, I wanna see who they are. Kazuki yawned and sat down with Naruto. The Great Forest 5 a.m. How could you abandon us to the Anbu? Tsunade yelled in a monstrous voice making everyone shiver. Hi Tsunade-sama, Kazuki waved. Huh, but you died. Jiraiya pointed at him. Well, since I've got nothing to do, I'm traveling with you. Kazuki grinned. What? All three of them shouted together. I guess we could let him. Naruto decided. Fine, but I've got my eye on you. Tsunade grumbled. Okay, Shizune said. So where are we going? The spiky-haired man asked. Uzushiogakure. Why would you go there? It's gone. Kazuki asked. To make it our refuge, I plan to make a new village over there, which outshines Konoha. There won't be any secret organizations or anything bad. Naruto explained. A naive dream, but it might work if we take our time. Kazuki said. Konohagakure 7 a.m. So Tsunade left. Danzo muttered looking at the Anbu reports. He tried hard to suppress a grin that came to his face, but he failed. I will be the Rokudaime then. -8:00 a.m. Training Ground 9. Naruto's gone, was all on Kakashi's mind. The Dobi ran away, what a hypocrite. I'll never run away. Sasuke spoke. That demon got what he deserved. Sakura growled. Don't get so happy, Sakura. Tsunade-sama and Jiraiya-sama went with him. That means Konoha just lost 2 extremely valuable shinobi. Kakashi said. Damn it, I was planning to make her train me. Sakura scowled. Konoha lost the Godaime so now it needs a Rokudaime. Kakashi spoke. It seems that the precious Uchiha was discharged like nothing happened. Neji voice was heard behind the three. Sakura grumbled. Sasuke glared and Kakashi didn't have an expression. It was truly unyouthful to banish Naruto-san. Lee and Guy said together. I also think that banishing Naruto was bad. Tenten spoke. You know who the source is. Neji glared at Sasuke. You are partially to blame, because if you never ran away to Orochimaru in pursuit of your stupid power then Naruto wouldn't be gone. Neji continued speaking. You're as much as Adobe as Naruto is, the only thing that matters in this world is power. Sasuke stated. Everyone except Sakura glared at Sasuke. Sasuke, don't go overboard, was all Kakashi could say. And you too, Hatake and Haruno, you didn't care about Naruto enough to attend his last meeting where he said goodbye to all of us. Neji finished. I had to, Kakashi began. Save your excuses, Hatake, your sensei would be ashamed of you. Neji turned away and left. It was most unyouthful of you to do so, you have much too little youth to be considered my rival. Guy told him disappointedly. Your team is too unyouthful. Lee said and left. Hatake-san, you should have at least said goodbye to Naruto. Tenten voiced her disappointment like the rest of your team. Kakashi hoped that he wouldn't get a bunch of lectures and anger directed at him later on, but that was not to be. Later that day 10 a.m. Kakashi, Maybe you aren't cut out to be a Jonin instructor. Asuma told him. Yeah, what kind of teacher plays favorites like that? You made it clear you hated Naruto, the only thing you taught him was tree climbing. And that was because you were forced to, as a team of Genins must learn tree climbing on their first mission outside of the village. You taught him nothing of your own free will, maybe you should just go back to Anbu. You taught the Uchiha your favorite technique and a couple of jutsu. And you taught the civilian how to do genjutsu, you only taught them their strengths, what the hell? Kurenai finished throwing her anger at Kakashi. Thanks a lot Kurenai, Kakashi muttered. He was quite traumatized by Obito and Rin's death, and now everyone was bugging him about Naruto. So he made up his mind and did what he was told to do. He called a meeting with Team 7 or what was left of it. Training Ground 7 1 p.m. Kakashi-sensei. Sakura looked worried about Kakashi, but in reality that was to maintain a good image of herself. Listen, I'm quitting Team 7. Kakashi's words shocked Sakura. Sasuke didn't really care though. That's it, Sasuke said. No, before that I'll say that I'm sorry I failed you as a sensei. Kakashi apologized. Yeah, you better be sorry, you didn't teach me a single useful jutsu. Sasuke said. I should have known you were an ungrateful little child. Kakashi was somewhat furious that Sasuke called the Chidori useless. What did you call me? Sasuke bursted out. Kakashi groaned and left. Hyuga Mansion 9 p.m. Father, I heard you were part of the group who banished Naruto. Why? Hinata asked without stuttering as she was given courage by Naruto. He was a weak fool with too much emotion and Konohagakure would be a lot better off without him in the village and your stupid crush turned you into a weak pathetic little idiot. Hiyashi scolded Hinata. Hinata started crying and then she stabbed her hand, much like Naruto, swearing to get stronger and to make her father eat those words. Neji came in and asked the same question to his uncle. His uncle simply said that he put Konoha in danger. When Neji asked how, he was denied an answer. Neji saw the blood on Hinata's hand and asked her what it was. He was given this answer. Hinata said that she vowed to make her father eat the words that Naruto was a weak fool. Hinata ran off to find someone to train her. A few days later, we're finally here, Uzushiogakure. -8 years later. Naruto had been missing and out of trace for 8 years, so had Tsunade, Shizune and Jiraiya. Konoha hadn't exactly flourished in that time. All the countries like Nami no Kuni, the Wave Country Cha no Kuni, the Tea Country, and Yuki no Kuni had cut ties with Konoha, because Naruto was banished. Meanwhile Uzushiogakure had flourished to a great extent, where it became a great village, at the very least as big as Konoha when the Yondaime Hokage ruled it. Because Tsunade left, Konoha lost the advantage of having the best hospital. Uzushiogakure was given that pleasure. Right now there were 6 great nations and their order of greatness was Kumogakure, Uzushiogakure, Iwagakure, Sunagakure, Konohagakure, and Kurigakure. The cage of new Uzushiogakure was unknown, no one ever saw his face, except the people of Uzushiogakure. He always wore a mask and he never opened up. No one even knew his name outside of Uzushiogakure, and only Tsunade, Jiraiya and Kazuki knew the Uzukage's real name. The others only knew him as Uzukage-sama, their savior. People knew the Uzukage's achievements, such as killing the Raikage's whole army when the Raikage invaded Uzushiogakure. He was known as the devil of the battlefield or the god of 3 elements, or the lightning flash. In just 8 years, he built the second greatest hidden village. Konoha was currently facing a war. They were allied with Suna, Taki and Kusa. Their opponents from Iwa were allied with Kumo and Oto. Orochimaru only supplied people against Konoha. He never told anyone about who the real leader of Otogakure was. Iwa declared war, because the ninja and the Yondaime Tsuchikage Iwao hated Konohagakure, because of the Yondaime Hokage, and they also wanted to make themselves the greatest elemental nation on the continent. So they used phony claims that they found spies from Konohagakure trying to collect information. They also had problems with Uzushiogakure. They were frustrated by not getting any information about it. New Uzushiogakure was so mysterious that Danzo, the Rokudaime Hokage, sent many spies to Uzu, but all his spies never returned. All the other countries wanted to spy on Uzu, but the same thing happened. Uzu no Kuni grew bigger as the hot spring country and the river country became part of Uzushiogakure along with its huge earth extensions that skilled earth release users made. It was a bit smaller than Hai no Kuni, but it had more skilled shinobi, a larger village, better technology, better resources, a more organized system of teaching that didn't allow favoritism at all. It made ninja more prepared for the outside world. It was a place that someone like Sakura could never become the top kunoichi. There were absolutely no fangirls in the academy, since the kunoichi there were quite serious, but not above jokes and pranks. Konohagakure was on decline and they were currently losing the war as the only thing keeping them going was their bigger numbers. The Nara clan came up with many strategies, but the shinobi of the leaf were unable to do them. Kakashi was made an Anbu captain upon his re-entry of Anbu and the new people who joined Team 7 were detestable as ever to the old members. The new sensei was called Yamato and the new team member was called Sai. Sai constantly insulted Sakura and Sasuke. Sasuke shoved the insults off, and tried to act cool, but Sakura tried to punch Sai every time he called her a moody hag, who has no control over her emotions. Yamato often trapped the two in a cage to force them to stop. Kurenai had grown older. She now had a 3-year-old kid who she had to take care of, so she retired as a shinobi of the leaf as long as Asuma didn't come back. Asuma, apparently saved by a mysterious man from getting killed by Hidan and Kakuzu. While doing border patrol, the two Akatsuki members took a shortcut through Konoha to get back to their base after incapacitating the Nanbi Jinchuriki who was exiled from Taki like Naruto. This mysterious figure took the Nanbi Jinchuriki and killed the two Akatsuki members Hidan and Kakuzu. Asuma was out on a war camp, constantly writing to Kurenai. Therefore Team 8 also got a new addition to the team. Her name was Azuki Yugao. Yugao had retired from Anbu, because she was tired of the mass bloodshed Anbu members saw these days. She preferred to become a regular jonin. Currently of Konoha 11 everyone was a jonin, except Sakura, who stayed chunin. Because of her lack of skills, she doesn't have good medical ninjutsu or super strength, because Tsunade left with Naruto. Kakashi didn't make any interactions with his former team and completely devoted himself to Anbu. He didn't want Obito, Rin and Minato to haunt him. Obito, because he would call Kakashi an enormous hypocrite, because he did abandon Naruto. Minato, because he ran away from his responsibilities to take care of Naruto as Minato had requested. Rin, because she naturally would that Kakashi for all his actions, especially not even saying goodbye to Naruto and favoritism. One of the things Kakashi hated was the Rokudaime Hokage Danzo. He allowed root members to roam around freely and trained the academy students into tools. Guy refused to make contact with Kakashi, because he stated that he wouldn't talk to someone with absolutely zero fires of youth within them. Naruto's jacket was torn into 19 pieces and it was divided between Kiba, Hinata, Shino, Kurenai, Konohamaru, Neji, Tenten, Lee, Guy, Konohamaru, Udon, Moegi, Tsuki, Ayame, Shikamaru, Choji, Asuma, Ino and Iruka. Each of them put Naruto's jacket in a special place. A special thing was taking place today at the Hyuga Mansion. Hyuga Mansion Arena 8 p.m. A 20-year-old Hyuga Hinata's heart started to beat heavily. She had just challenged her father for the title of Hyuga clan head. The terms were that if she won, her father had to step down from his position. If he won, she would be placed in the branch family as a servant of the Hyuga. She had trained under Kurenai and Asuma as well as Yugao. She drew back her confidence. I must do this. For Naruto-kun and Neji-sama. She got into the traditional fighting stance of the Hyuga. All of Konoha 11 who weren't in a war camp came. Go Hinata! Go Hinata! Ino cheered. Hinata-sama, you were foolish to challenge Hiashi-sama, but win. Neji thought as branch members were not allowed to cheer for the opposing side or it would be considered as revolt. Hinata, you could have been a clan head one day, why didn't you wait? Hiashi asked as he was quite surprised by the whole thing. Father, every second branch members suffer. I will not allow this. If this clan goes down too deeply, I might not be able to pull it out. So the sooner I become clan head, the sooner the Hyuga clan is pulled out of the darkness it has fell in. I'm doing this for the Hyuga clan. Hinata declared bravely. She had gotten over stuttering when Naruto had gotten banished as she realized that it was time to grow up and become strong to overthrow her father. Father, ever since mother died you became cold. you acted extra harshly against branch members. I wonder if you blame them for not being able to cure mother's sickness. This clan does not need slavery, it needs to become united. I will abolish the curse seal. I will accomplish my dream. Hajime. The branch member yelled. Hake Kusho, 8 trigrams vacuum palm. Hiashi thrusted his arm to send Hinata flying with a tremendous force, but it failed to reach his daughter as she used Shunshin to evade it. So you have resorted to stupid means and have abandoned the Hyuga clan's great techniques. Hiashi told Hinata. They are not stupid means, we have grown arrogant in our own techniques, and if someone finds a way to counter our techniques then we are defenseless. Hinata stated, continuing to look at Hiashi through her Byakugan. You stupid girl, there are no weaknesses to the Byakugan except one, and there are no weaknesses to Gentle Fist. Hiashi angrily replied. Wrong, Hinata simply said. Suiryuden water dragon missile technique. Hinata drew water from the moisture in the air and then did lots of hand seals, and a huge water dragon charged towards Hiashi. Hakushokaden, 8 trigrams revolving heaven. Hiashi spun and blocked the attack when he realized Hinata was nowhere to be seen. He suddenly felt himself being pushed to the ground. Damn it, Genjutsu, it can't be, the Byakugan can see through Genjutsu. Hiashi grunted as he tried to dispel the Genjutsu, but he couldn't because it wasn't really Genjutsu, it was a simple Shunshin. See, they are not petty tricks. Hinata waited until Hiashi got up. Foolish little girl, you could have taken me while I was down. Hiashi grumbled. Dear father, I thought that was dishonorable, so I let you stand. Hinata said in a voice that was similar to Danzo's root agent's, an emotionless voice. Yuho Soshiken, gentle step twin lion fists, 2 blue lion-like shapes came out of Hinata's fists, while she stood ready for combat. Hiashi assumed the gentle fist taijutsu stance once again. Hiashi and his daughter began to trade blows, equaling each other, neither gained the upper hand. In the stands, beat that bastard Hiashi, Hinata. Kiba cheered her on, Akamaru, who was now at least as big as a wolf, barked in agreement. Hinata-san, let the fires of youth burn within you so you can defeat your unyouthful opponent. Lee encouraged. Complete your dream, Hinata, Kurenai whispered to her. In the arena. Well, father, it looks like I underestimated you slightly. Hinata admitted while preparing her next jutsu. Hiashi said nothing as he charged at Hinata while she did her hand seals. Hake Rokujuyan Sho, 8 trigrams 64 palms. Hiashi began attacking Hinata, until he hit her 64 times, making Hinata cough up blood. Give up. I have closed all 64 of your chakra points, you can't use chakra, so how can you defeat me? Hiashi smirked, but that automatically turned into a frown as Hinata was smirking. I won't give up. No matter what you throw at me, I never give up, as that is my ninja way. Hinata coughed up more blood, still smiling. Neji's eyes widened, as he remembered what caused him to change his attachment to fate. Flashback 8 years ago. I have closed all 64 of your chakra points, you can barely stand, and without chakra, your fight is a hopeless one. I won't give up no matter what you throw at me, that's my ninja way. I'm not attached by fate like you, unless you find something precious to protect you'll never grow strong. Why don't you give up? Because I was called a failure, and I'll prove you wrong. How? You shouldn't be able to use chakra. Quote, I'm not attached to fate, I flunked the academy test 3 times, if a failure like me could do this, imagine what a genius like you could do. End flashback. Why don't you give up? Without chakra, your fight is a hopeless one. Hiashi waited for something to happen next. I will win, because my will to win is stronger than yours. Hinata shouted as she started to gain increased chakra. How? You shouldn't be able to use chakra. First gate. Kaiman Kai. Second gate. Kuman Kai. Sweden. Kaminami. Water release. Divine wave. Hinata summoned an enormous wave that soaked the whole arena and hit Hiashi at point blank range, nearly killing him. The medics quickly grabbed him and started to heal him, and they then put him on a stretcher and stopped him from bleeding, because he bled when he hit the ground. Without that quick medical attention he would have definitely died. Hinata-sama is the winner and the new head of the Hyuga. The branch member announced in joy. You did it, Hinata, I'm proud. Kurenai congratulated her. Go Hinata, you're awesome. Kiba shouted. Mom, that girl with purple-blue hair is cool. Kurenai's son said. Yes she is. Kurenai smiled. Danzo, The Hokage frowned, he had expected that girl to lose, and with this he lost the support of the Hyuga. Hinata was so happy, she won, it took all of her chakra to do that attack, the power of the 8 gates took their toll on her and she passed out. I wonder how Hinata-sama managed to counter the effects of Gentle Fist. I must ask her about it later. Congratulations Hinata-sama. But how will you remove the curse seal? The elders don't even know how to. Neji frowned as they would need a skilled fuinjutsu master such as Jiraiya of the Sannin, but he left with Naruto. 3 days later, Kakashi, who was on the war front, opened a letter. News from the Leaf. A girl from the main house called Hinata challenged the Hyuga Council head Hyuga Hiashi. The girl had amazing ability and was able to counter the Gentle Fist through unknown means and unleashed an S-rank jutsu at the end, putting Hyuga Hiashi on the verge of death. She is now the new head of the Hyuga clan. Good for you Hinata, good for you. Kakashi thought as he went to sleep. Konohagakure. Konohamaru was the fastest improving person in all of Konoha. He became Jonin at 15, Chunin at 13 and Genin at 11, hardly anyone advanced to Jonin at 15. Kurenai, known as the Genjutsu mistress of Konoha did not advance until 26. Asuma, advanced at 20, and Guy managed to make Jonin at 17. Of this generation's elite Jonin he was only beaten by Kakashi, who advanced at 13. He didn't bother wearing the Jonin vest, since he hated it. It was an offense to the current Uzushiogakure to have them wearing their village symbol on their vests, since he learned about Uzushiogakure and managed to find out that Konoha denied them in their times of need. He began to hate his village more and more, but knew there was nothing to do besides wait for the next Hokage, who he just hoped could change the village. So he pushed himself to his limits every day trying to make himself the next Hokage. Sasuke made Jonin at 17, he was an arrogant bastard as always, thinking everyone in Konoha was inferior to him. He now had a Mangekyo Sharingan. He began to hate Sakura more and more and considered her nothing more than a weakling. Sasuke became rather unhappy, 1 year after Naruto's banishment since he discovered that the Dobi was his greatest challenge and it was his fault that he grew stronger. Sakura on the other hand was happy Naruto left, as she considered him the only obstacle between Sasuke and herself. However, she discovered that Sasuke still didn't even consider her a friend so she kept trying, but all her attempts failed up to date and she is still trying. The Hokage's office 11:30 a.m. a week later. I am assigning you to an S-rank mission. You are to find out information about Uzushiogakure, such as their technology, their food supply, anything. Your squad leader is Uehi Kurenai, and you will leave tomorrow. Danzo assigned them their mission. Hokage-sama, who will take care of my child? Kurenai asked. Asuma is coming home in a few hours, I have informed him of everything. Danzo stated. I understand Hokage-sama, Kurenai said. You are all dismissed. Danzo said. Shino, Sakura, Kiba and Kurenai left the office. An S rank. If we get caught spying there then we will die, get tortured or be used as leverage. I want to see my son after tomorrow and I'll have too many regrets to die, but this is an S rank mission and I can't refuse. Kurani thought sadly. Kiba had a different thought on this mission. No one's ever been there and back from another village. As spies if I manage to do that it'll be awesome. -9:00 a.m. It takes a full 2 days to get to Uzushiogakure. Ino looked at the map. Yes it does and we can't risk getting detected by them, so this mission will take a while. Kurenai stated. Ugh, we have to do stupid things like running around the borders then. Kiba groaned. Shut it dog breath. Sakura yelled. It is logical that you do not get your temper any higher than it already is. Shino said. What did you say? The cherry blossom yelled. Shino, just leave her. Kiba told his friend. We have to get moving. Kurenai started to run toward the direction of Uzushiogakure. A few hours later. We'll eat lunch over here. Kurenai stopped at a restaurant. You know Sakura, what if the Uzukage is like the ghost of Naruto, and we get captured before we see anything, then he'll probably just let us out blindfolded and keep torturing you, because you called him a demon and stuff. Kiba joked. Dog breath, one more time you annoy me and you're as good as dead. Sakura raised her fist to indicate she was serious. Oh please, you're just a lowly chunin, you can't threaten me. Kiba mocked her. You are dead dog breath, dead. Sakura charged at Kiba. Srop it you too. Kurenai ordered. One day and 12 hours later 6 a.m. Border of Uzu no Kuni. Remember the plan, sneak into the border without drawing attention, then listen to gossip in towns surrounding Uzushiogakure and find out as much as you can. Then if you can find out a way into Uzushiogakure we do that and see the town, collect as much information as you can. Kurenai told her team. Alright, Akamaru, ready for this, if we're not careful it could mean our deaths. Kiba told his partner. Akamaru gave out a low growl and looked at the border. Shino scouted the area ahead with his bugs, but found nothing. Kurenai simply looked ahead since she had nothing else to do. Sakura looked around. She only saw a typical row of buildings, and some high walls. Kurenai-sensei, is this it? I can't even see any border patrol here. Kiba said. My bugs detect no lifeforms in the area ahead. Shino informed. Something's wrong, be on your guard. Kurenai casted a genjutsu that made the whole team invisible and the group started to slowly and stealthily approach the border. They scanned the area, and figured that there would be traps on the walls so they moved inside the building, using everything they could as cover. Then they suddenly approached a large corridor. They slowly walked through it, but they were unaware that a camera watched their every move. Uzushiogakure, a 6-foot-tall blonde had woken up just a few minutes ago. He brushed his teeth, and checked the borders. Then he saw his former friends and their sensei approaching on his screen. He looked through the video cameras, he looked at the way they approached the building and moved through it. It would have worked with other buildings, but Uzushio's border didn't even need manpower to keep it safe. The camera was trained to recognize the identification seals he put on all the members of Uzushiogakure so they wouldn't attack them. They attacked all other people who dared enter the border with all kinds of weapons, they were all non-lethal though. Naruto knew he would have to use manned border patrol instead of his cameras and robots once the technology of Uzushio was discovered, but not before that. Well, time to go meet them. Naruto put his headband on and shoved his mask on, and got dressed. Border. The four people were walking across the corridor, when suddenly a great blast of electricity fried Akamaru by surprise. Kiba's dog struggled to get up, but failed. Akamaru. Kiba yelled. The door to Uzu and the way back outside had shut, they were trapped. A large amount of knockout gas was released and all of the Konoha ninja passed out. I expected them to last longer. The Uzukage said as he teleported all of them to the hospital and applied chakra suppression seals on them. Uzushiogakure, hospital. Kiba slowly opened his eyes, seeing himself on a bed in a hospital. Akamaru was by his side. Where am I? Kiba mumbled. You are in Uzushiogakure no Sato, trespasser, I would like you to state why you have trespassed into our country. The medic told the Inuzuka. I won't tell you ever. The Inuzuka replied. Very well, but our best medic can easily get that out from you. She does not play nice so you may want to answer, it is better than facing her torture. The medic said. I'll never bark, you'll have to make me spit it out. Kiba growled. I see. The medic said to the Konoha ninja. She was still staring at him in a completely straight way, not frowning, not smiling. She had brown hair tied in a ponytail and wore a white shirt. Kiba couldn't see the lower part of her body, not like he cared. He wondered what happened to his sensei and his teammate. He didn't care about the pink-haired fangirl. He was thinking about them until he saw Shino and Kurenai across the room. Asami, Uzukage-sama wants to see the trespassers. A medic in a black vest said. Understood Yun-sama. 5 minutes later. How are you feeling Konoha ninja? A deep voice asked the Inuzuka. Not good, thanks to you. We're missing ninja not Konoha ninja. Kiba tried to act. You think I would not recognize the Genjutsu mistress of Konoha, the great bug of Konoha, and the great fang of the leaf? I might not recognize the pink-haired girl, but since she was in your squad I can also safely assume that she is with you. Also I highly doubt that you would be missing ninja, even though you have no headband or identification. I really don't think ninja of your caliber would defect so easily. I also know that you are very loyal to your village, therefore you are here to spy on Uzushiogakure. The voice came closer to Kiba. He saw a man wearing a mask, and the traditional cage uniform with the kanji, whirlpool. The only things he could actually clearly see about the man were his blue eyes, and his muscular build. I will see your teammates now, you will be placed into a containment cell until further notice. The Uzukage left Kiba. A couple of people wearing steel masks with black armor dragged Kiba to the containment cell. With Sakura. Haruno Sakura slowly opened her eyes and glanced around the place. She was in an area with wooden tiles and many beds. She quickly figured out it was a hospital. A man was standing before her, with a cage-like hat, so she decided that she was in Uzushiogakure, in the hospital, and the Uzukage was standing in front of her, waiting to interrogate her. No, that's stupid. Why a cage of an important village waste time on us? He'll probably send his underlings to do that. Hello, Kunoichi of the Leaf, I assume that came here to do a spy mission, and you were sent by your Hokage Danzo. Your teammate Kiba is from the Inuzuka clan, because he has the markings of the Inuzuka on his face, and your teammate Shino is from the Aburame clan, as he uses bugs to shield an attack. Your leader is Yuhi Kurenai, the Genjutsu mistress of Konoha. I know all of this in your names as my cameras saw everything, and heard everything including your whispers. I saw you nearing my border, but didn't do anything as you didn't cross it. When you did, my cameras started to attack you and knocked you unconscious. I then brought you to Uzu. The Uzukage finished. He knew them all and would know their names even if they weren't whispering. Why didn't you kill us? Sakura asked. Simple. Because your Hokage would demand repercussions and deny that you ever crossed my border, but now I have you and I have proof, so I can find the Hokage. Whatever the case, your life is in my hands. It wasn't wise of your Hokage to do this, especially since you are in a war. The Uzukage replied. He had already stolen the mission file with his spy in Konoha. What's going to happen to us now? Sakura continued asking. You and your teammates are going to be stuck in the same cell. The seals I placed on you make it impossible to use chakra and physical strength. Don't even bother trying. The Uzukage told her and left to see Shino after signaling those same people with black masks to. With Shino. Aburame-san, I believe you and your team are guilty of intruding Uzushiogakure. You will be placed in a cell until further notice. All you Kikaichu bugs have been suppressed inside your body, so you will be unable to know anything about our village. Also, all of your team will be taken to the interrogation chamber. The Uzukage told Shino. How do you know so much about our clan? Shino observed. I fought with some Aburame in the past, so I analyzed their abilities. The Uzukage used a cover story. It was half true, as he disposed of Fu and Torun and placed them in cells. He didn't demand any repercussions from any village, because of how he could easily deal with them. He knew he was getting arrogant in his ability, but he decided to demand repercussions for these four, at least giving them a reasonable reason to leave. He didn't like the thought of keeping most of the former Team 8 and one of the members of Team 7 in a cell. If he decided to let go of any of them, he would wipe out a huge amount of that person's memory and send them back to the village. Luckily, he didn't have to do that to anyone yet, as most of the villages only sent one group of spies. The exception was Danzo. He sent at least 5 teams to Uzushiogakure, and this was the 6th. I understand, Uzukage-sama. Shino knew it was best to not deny he was from Konoha, as the Uzukage had found out about his Kikaichu. Shino was then dragged to the same containment cell Kiba and Sakura were currently in. Lastly, Kurenai. Kurenai-san, I will say the same things I told your teammates to you. You are guilty of trying to sneak into Uzushiogakure. You will be placed into a containment cell until further notice. Also, I suppose you're worried about your son Hiruzen Yuhi Sarutobi, and I know you didn't want to come here in fear of getting caught and being unable to see him again. The Uzukage said. He gave out that he knew this information, because he already had a cover story to back it up. He didn't want to say he had a spy. How did you know? She asked, shocked that this Uzukage knew such information. Simple. I was traveling in Umi no Kuni using a henge when an adorable black-haired boy came up to me. We had a small conversation, where he told me his name. This was believable, as Naruto was in Umi no Kuni that time and he knew about this mysterious man that the boy had encountered while Natali running off to find his mom, so he decided to take advantage of it. He only knew one person who had eyes that looked like a dojutsu, and he only knew a few Sarutobi members. He knew Asuma and Kurenai had secretly been dating, so that came to one conclusion. Kurenai was dragged and out with the rest of her team. In the cell. Damn it. Kiba slammed the reinforced glass an 8th time. Calm down, dog breath, as the Uzukage said, we won't get through here with physical strength. Sakura told Kiba. How the hell did we get caught? We did everything fine. Kiba groaned and made a few growling sounds. From what Uzukage-sama told Sakura, he was watching us through some kind of technology. He caught us before we crossed the border. Shino told his team. Maybe the Uzukage really is Naruto's ghost. Kiba suggested. Ever since Naruto's banishment, you suggest every strong person we meet is Naruto's ghost. What's wrong with you? Sakura glared at Kiba, as she lost Ino as a friend 8 years ago in the banishment, so she didn't like being reminded of that incident. No one even talked to her like a friend since then, but it wasn't like she cared. Kurenai was in her head. She was thinking about how she would never see her son again, or Asuma. Shino was thinking about his clan and how he would never get to use his Kikaichu again. Kiba was thinking about how both he and Akamaru would rot in the prison, and Sakura was obviously thinking about Sasuke. Uzushiogakure, the Uzukage's office. So how's life, kid? A familiar white-haired old man said. Ero Sennin, how's writing your book going? Naruto the Uzukage asked. Horribly. Every hot woman I see almost kills me when I jot down something on my notepad. Jiraiya informed his student. Good. Naruto said. So what's up? You don't look too good. Jiraiya observed. It's just that the stupid mummy Danzo sent Team 8 excluding Hinata to spy on me. What the hell do I do if Danzo refuses to pay for them? I don't want to kill them. Naruto voiced his problems to the Toad Sage. Keep them in prison. Jiraiya told him, and prevent Kurenai-sensei from seeing her kid and make him and Asuma-sensei worry infinitely for his wife. Naruto said. It's not your fault, kid, it's Danzo's. He sent them on an S-rank mission the moment Kurenai came out from retirement. And by Konoha's law you can't refuse an S-rank mission. Also losing the Genjutsu mistress of Konoha would be bad for this war, so as long as the price for them isn't too high he'll take them. Jiraiya explained. Hey brat, how's it going? A female voice asked. Kurenai-sensei and her team minus Hinata, replacement Sakura came to spy on me. Naruto informed the female Sannin. Where's Kurenai? I need to catch up with her. The female Sannin asked. No, they'll find out I'm the Uzukage like that since they know you ran off with me. Naruto stated. HMPH, the Sannin grumbled. Konoha 3 days earlier. Where's Kurenai? Asuma asked the old Hokage. I sent her on an S-rank mission 1 hour ago. The Hokage answered. You what? Asuma growled angrily. I sent her on an S-rank mission 1 hour ago. The Hokage repeated. An S-rank? You sent her on an S-rank the moment I came back, and where to? Asuma couldn't control his anger and yelled. Uzushiogakure no Sato, Danzo replied, never leaving his emotionless face. What? I request to go to her aid, Hokage-sama. Asuma continued to growl. Request denied. For a 2-week period you are not allowed to take any missions as Kurenai has left, you will instead take care of your kid. Danzo told him. Asuma continued to groan and grumble until he left. Present. Cell. How can we get out? Kiba asked desperately. Since there is reinforced glass instead of bars we cannot break through, and since all our ninja tools have been taken, we cannot make an explosion, so the only ways to get out would be to make Uzukage-sama release us or make one of his subordinates do it. Shino said. Sakura suddenly got an idea. Are there any vents? She asked. Yes, but it is also guarded, with a cage surrounding it. Shino told her. Then our best option would be to wait until Uzukage-sama demands repercussions for us sneaking into the border. Hopefully, Hokage-sama will pay for our release. Kurenai told her team, but she had doubts about that. Sakura gave up hope of ever escaping and slept on her bed. Kurenai looked for the emergency explosive tag and knives she hid in her shoe, but unfortunately, she couldn't find any, because the metal detector and paper detectors that watched out for all enemy shinobi and prisoners' emergency items revealed them. They worked by pointing red lights at every metal tool the person had. Kiba was still trying to shatter the reinforced glass and Shino was thinking about everything he might lose if the Hokage refuses to pay the fine. Inuzuka Kiba, your interrogation session will begin now. A voice from outside said. Kiba gulped. He wondered whether these were like any of Ibiki's interrogations. He saw one of those and thought he would immediately break if he went through one of those. A metal mask-wearing black armored female took him to the interrogation room. It wasn't what he expected. He expected something similar to Ibiki's dark cave. This room was bright. It had wooden tiles as floor and a simple place where his head was placed. It was similar to the thing that Inoichi used to hold people while he entered their minds. The Uzukage appeared, and Kiba immediately shouted at him. You damn bastard, when I get out of this, I'll rip you apart. Perhaps, I could easily make you face physical pain, but I'm simply wiping parts of your memory that hold information on my village. I'm sure your Hokage would do the same. The Uzukage told him, as he started his jutsu. Kami no Shinton, God of Mind. Naruto quickly erased all the memories that contained information such as their knowledge of cameras and simply kept the bits that made sense with each other so they wouldn't be confused. He then looked for information on Konoha. He found quite a bit of stuff, but he didn't look at their personal life as he didn't want to intrude. Each of them contained information on Konoha, which he looked through. When everything was finished and Kurenai's team were all back in that cell, the Uzukage simply began writing a letter. Dear Hokage-sama, 4 of your ninjas have been found sneaking around my border. I have taken them captive, and you are not allowed to have your ninjas enter Uzu no Kuni, as I have not allowed it. It is clear that they were trying to get information about my village. I would like to talk to you about the consequences of your actions. Meet me in Takigakure, in the hall built in front of the ancient waterfall 5 days from when the letter reaches you. Bring as many guards as you want. The Uzukage of Uzushiogakure. 3 days later. Danzo growled when he read it. It was his first sign of emotion in front of other people in 8 years. Uzushiogakure. I can be your bodyguard, Naruto. Kazuki said. No, Kazuki-sensei, I'll go alone. Naruto firmly stated. What if they try something? Kazuki asked. I have shadow clones. Naruto replied. Fine, just don't mess anything up. Kazuki told his student. Konoha will receive a fine of 8 million ryo. I will make it clear that I don't trust him as a Kage wouldn't. I wish to hide my identity for as long as possible. I have already shown favoritism, but I suspect Danzo will think it is because of their war effort. He never sent worthwhile people before anyway. Naruto explained what his actions were. I understand, his sensei said. Soon Operation Kiri will start. Naruto stated as he teleported to the gates. Takigakure 5 days later. Danzo looked at the Uzukage as he sat right in front of him. He could tell that whoever it was, the person was in his early to mid-20s. He masked his appearance quite well. The only traits someone could notice would be his shoulder-length blonde bangs and his gleaming blue eyes. Danzo on the other hand looked like a cripple who could barely walk. Danzo also felt a bright sunny cheery, but also a powerful aura from this blonde, however he didn't fear that. Hokage-sama, please sit down. The blonde told the Hokage. The Cyclops agreed and pulled out a chair. Uzukage-sama, before we talk I have a question. Danzo spoke to the Uzukage. And what might that be? The Kage asked curiously. Why did you attack my squad that was simply passing by, Uzukage-sama? Danzo revealed his question. They crossed the border of Uzu no Kuni, so I had to stop them from spying. The Uzukage said. I have no idea what you're talking about. They were on their way to a businessman in Kaminari no Kuni. Do not make false claims, Uzukage-sama. Danzo fiercely spoke back to the Uzukage. No, they did cross the border, and here's your proof. The Uzukage brought out a weird thing with a bunch of buttons and a screen and put in a disc. He then made the screen face the old Hokage and he watched it. It showed Kurenai and her team walking past the border and then suddenly get knocked about by the knockout gas. Uzukage-sama, I would expect better from you. You simply played out the event to bring this thing as evidence. Danzo said as he didn't know what to call it. Hokage-sama, do you really think Kurenai-san and her team would have stayed still and let themselves be knocked out once again? The Uzukage gave him a question that made the Hokage think his previous statement was stupid. I suppose you can name your price, as that is what we came here to discuss, the release of the team. Danzo said, changing the subject. I believe 15 million ryo would work. The Uzukage told Danzo. He knew that he would have to lower that price though. 15 million ryo, Uzukage-sama, don't you think that is too much for 4 shinobi? One is an elite jonin, 2 of them are mid-jonin, but one is a pink-haired chunin that is devoid of talent. Danzo calmly told the Uzukage. Unfortunately, Hokage-sama, they hold some of my secrets, and those do not come cheap. The Uzukage lied. A few small secrets and 3 jonin do not equal 15 million ryo. Danzo argued. Alright, Just for your sake and Konoha's sake I will lower it to 12 million ryo. The Uzukage told Danzo. Uzukage-sama, understand that my shinobi are at war so I cannot currently spend so much money. Danzo tried to make the Uzukage feel sympathy. Then surely you had something better to do than try to invade Uzu no Kuni. The Uzukage raised a point. Unfortunately, I had to check if you would ally with Iwa and become a threat later, so I needed the information. Danzo said. I see, my last offer is 10 million ryo, if you do not take it then I will keep these 4 ninja. The Uzukage said. Very well, I agree. The Hokage said, hoping whatever secrets Kurenai and her team brought were worth it. Very well, 3 of my ninja will be there at Nami no Kuni, at the Great Naruto Bridge to exchange the money with the people. They will be there 3 days from now, the Uzukage stated. I'm afraid I must leave now as I have pressing matters to attend to. Danzo said. He left with his escorts. I'm almost surprised he didn't try using his Mangekyo Sharingan. Uzushiogakure. Uzushiogakure was a great big bustling town. It was bigger than Konoha, but had less minor towns around it. The Uzukage brought great happiness and people thought of it as a land of peace. The Uzukage made many special divisions. One was the police unit, where there were civilian police to stop civilian burglars. They used a special kunai launcher, so they only needed experience in marksmanship. Ninjas could easily dodge these though. Another was a striking team. It was designed to quickly wipe out an enemy force through traps, sabotage, and strategies. There was a science division. The head was a person who was formerly of Orochimaru's subordinates. Her name was Uzumaki Karen. There were plenty of other divisions. The Ninja Inventors Division, the Weapons Division, the Sensors Division, the Intelligence Division, the Illusion Division, the Medical Division, the Assassin Division, the Interrogation Division, and the Combat Division. The Ninja Inventors Division head was Kazuki, because he invented the most useful stuff Uzushiogakure had. The Weapons Division head was called Watanabe Kosuke. He was from a samurai clan, and made the very best weapons with the most skill in them, except Naruto. The medical head was obviously Tsunade, as she was the best medic nin in the village, Shizune II, but these medics were more skilled than the medics in Konoha. The head of the intelligence division would be Jiraiya, but he went to be the head of the striking team, and the rules of Uzu state that you can't be the head of 2 divisions. The divisions signified the jobs of a ninja and what type of ninja the person wanted to be. Any ninja who was genin rank or higher could enter a division. That genin would specialize in that area, but again these divisions weren't mandatory for people to be in, and they could just be normal ninja. The people in divisions did not have to specialize in one area, they could also specialize in more areas, and they weren't binded to the area their division specialized in. As for the council, they were made up of the division heads. The Uzukage could remove the council members if they committed treason and so, but they could also lose their position by losing the support of their respective division. If enough of the people said that they didn't like their respective division head to be a council member, then the Uzukage could remove the person from the council, and being the division head. To allow people to pass freely through Uzukage, once anyone becomes a citizen of Uzu no Kuni, a complex seal is made on them. It allows identification, so the cameras and the guards at the front don't attack them. This seal hardens as soon as it is put, and is impossible to get rid of without knowing a lot about, even with a seal master like Jiraiya. Even if your limb was cut off, it would move to your arm, until every piece of your body was cut up, then it would simply disappear. Studying the formula wouldn't be enough to remove it. Mixed with that seal, there is a dojutsu seal, to prevent people with dojutsus like the Hyuga to be advantageous against them. Konohagakure. Hinata tried and tried, but she couldn't find a way to remove the caged bird seal without fuinjutsu, and without anyone to teach her she was clueless. So she only had one option, find Jiraiya, but without a mission to do so, she would be branded a missing ninja. She didn't have a plan, so she simply waited for what? For nothing. There was no chance that the Toad Sage came back to the village, so she simply settled for treating the branch members with the same respect as the main members. Neji never found out about how she countered the Jiyuken, because she didn't want to say she got an anonymous note with 2 bottles that forced Tenketsu points open. Meanwhile Danzo was furious that the team learned absolutely nothing and the Uzukage duped him, by making them worth more, by saying they carried his secrets. He had been a fool to believe that. He still had Kaharu and Homura as advisors, since his first order as Hokage was to accuse Kakashi and Tsunade of cooperating together to frame Kaharu, but he said Kakashi was needed in the war effort. He declared the two Sannin S-rank missing ninja and Naruto an A-rank missing ninja to be captured, and the two Sannin were to be killed on sight. Kakashi deeply regretted his actions of being hated by Naruto since he came to Anbu. He failed his sensei by not carrying out his last order, but he thought the boy was safe with Sarutobi. He didn't know his teammate Rin was dead for sure, but she left the village and resigned as a shinobi of the Leaf a year after his other teammate Obito died. He wasn't allowed to look for her, and she made it clear she didn't want to be found. Even when he carried out a few searches for her during other missions, she was never there. She was good at hiding herself if she wasn't dead, but Kakashi knew that Rin was bad at hiding herself. She could never do it in the academy or when she became Chunin. Asuma was kept from the knowledge that Kurenai was captured, so he assumed that the mission went well. Danzo told Kurenai not to reveal the information either. Sasuke knew there was nothing left for him in Konoha, and he would be driven to hell if he stayed a moment longer, but he had nowhere to go. Orochimaru was sick and twisted and he didn't want to get experimented on, as well as the fact that Orochimaru did not have the power to even be on par with himself. He didn't know where the other two Sannin were, but he was determined to find out, so he packed his things and left the village. He still wanted to kill Itachi and Itachi was still alive. Unknown, Akatsuki Base. The Kyuubi Jinchuriki has put a wrench in our plans. We don't have the slightest clue to where he is. A man with purple eyes that had rings around them said. Leader Sama, the biggest problem we had was that masked man who prevented us from gaining the Aikibi, Nibi and Nanabi. And this Uzukage, he took the Nanabi and made her a ninja of his own village. A shark-like voice told the man. Yes, that masked man prevented a lot and killed Hidan, Kakuzu, Sasori and Deidara. A certain Uchiha stated. You are right, Uchiha, he is a threat, however he has not appeared since 3 years ago. A female voice chimed. Which Jinchuriki should we catch next? We can't catch the Hachibi yet, as he is extremely powerful. We have no idea where the Kyuubi is. The Aikibi, the Nibi and the Nanabi are under protection. We have already caught the Yanbi, Gobi and Rokubi, that leaves the Sanbi, which is in Kiri, but we don't want to draw too much attention, and we will be rushing in the middle of a civil war, which is unwise, therefore we must wait. Itachi told everyone that remained in the Akatsuki about the current situation. I suppose. The leader grumbled. Operation Kiri begins tomorrow. Uzukage-sama, are you sure it's wise to go to Kiri, and leave the village undefended? A member of the combat team Naruto was taking to Kiri asked. It'll be fine. Besides, Ero Sennin will be the temporary Uzukage, and Ba-chan will be staying too. I've also got word that the last Uchiha of the Leaf ran away from it again. Quote. The Uchiha is unstable, Uzukage-sama. Another person questioned. More like driven for power. His brother slaughtered his whole clan in one night, then used a Mangekyo Sharingan technique called Tsukuyomi to make him experience his clan's massacre for a full 72 hours, while it was only 3 seconds in reality. His brother told him to hate him, and that's exactly what he did. He now desires the power to kill his brother more than anything else, even his village. Naruto told his former best friend's story. I see, the person replied. Hot springs. Hey Ero Sennin, wanna come to Kiri? The Uzukage asked in his regular tone he used when talking to the two Sannin. I thought you were making me temporary Uzukage. The Toad Sage spoke. He thought Naruto would go to Kiri alone and not bring along the supposed dead man, or any of the Sannin not to draw attention. I would, but I thought it would be great to bring someone I know well and don't know from reading papers along. Naruto said. He could bring either of the Sannin if he used a genjutsu to mask notable traits, since there weren't any dojutsu users in Kiri. Or he could use the appearance-changing seal. I don't wanna come. I have to finish my book. Jiraiya whined. Fine, I'll ask Ba-chan and Sensei next. Naruto grumbled and left. The casino. Hey Ba-chan, wanna go to Kiri? Naruto asked. Kiri, you wanna take me to a place in the middle of a huge civil war? And I'm a Sannin. That'll give nations hints to who the Uzukage is. Especially Konoha, because they know I fled with the Kyuubi brat. Tsunade said. Don't be silly Ba-chan, You can wear a mask and use some kind of genjutsu to mask your chest and your diamond mark. Naruto gave the solution, hoping she would come. Mask. Brat, only you and Kakashi like those stuffy things. Tsunade growled. I'm not talking about my mask, I'm talking about a metal mask. Naruto explained. Those are even worse. The female Sannin gave a negative response. HRMPH, then just use the appearance changing seal to change your face. Naruto groaned. I'll think about it, the gambler said, making Naruto leave once again. Tsunade lost another round of poker, making her angrier and more frustrated. On the roof of a tower. Naruto, don't you have anyone else to go with you? Kazuki frowned on his student. He really didn't feel like going anywhere anytime soon, since he was working on a complicated invention that would require his time and attention. Ero Sennin said no, Ba-chan said maybe, and all my friends in the village are out on missions. Naruto told his sensei. I don't want to go either, so that's 2 refusals and 1 maybe, so why don't you ask the maybe? Kazuki advised his student. He didn't really like denying requests, he liked accepting them and making himself feel good that he was helping people, but to Hai, the invention he was making was more important than going to Kier, besides Naruto was there. Okay. Naruto left his sensei, slightly unhappy. At the time of departure to the Mist Village, Tsunade ended up refusing. Naruto just decided to leave the 3 alone. He was about to leave when a spiky white-haired man came running to him. Uzukage-sama, I'm running out of ideas for you know what, so I'm joining you to get more ideas. Jiraiya shouted, puffing behind the 50 men Naruto brought to aid Kiri. Naruto looked disgusted, and was a bit mad. Alright, put on your mask and hurry up. The Uzukage groaned. All 50 of the men wondered what these ideas were, and wondered what the man said to make the Uzukage look so disgusted. Naruto was in a black cloak with the symbol of the whirlpool on his back. It was quite similar to his father's, except instead of Yondaime Hokage written on the back, Godaime Uzukage was written on the back, because that was exactly what he was. His mother was supposed to be the 5th, but the whirlpool was destroyed before that happened. His grandfather was the 4th. He honored all the Uzukages, and he had the history of Uzushiogakure written on many boards which were placed all around town. He wore the Uzukage hat, which looked like a normal Kage hat, except the fact that it had the kanji, whirlpool, on it, and was colored light blue. On his back was a sword called the Sword of Tempest. It had the symbol of the Uzumaki forged onto it. It was at least 4 feet, if not a tiny bit longer. It was a sword of amazing powers, which made Naruto feel even more invincible than he already was. Jiraiya openly stated that he could beat all 3 Sannin himself. The small army began marching towards the Mist Village very cautiously. They had to watch whether any spy was waiting to report to their commanding officers that the Uzukage took a small division, it can't really be called an army, and started to head towards the direction of the mist. Orochimaru's base. Things are interesting. Kabuto, the leaf will get crushed by the rock and the cloud now, since they don't have many forces left. They will be crushed soon either way, unless they don't get help. The sand won't offer many soldiers, and the only reason they want to provide help is because I killed their precious 4th Kazekage and used them to crush the leaf. They seem to still hold such a grudge, hissed a certain snake. Orochimaru-sama, they could get help from the whirlpool, seeing that they were long-standing allies with each other. Kabuto reminded his master. Kabuto, I find that quite unlikely, because that was back in the era of the foolish Shodai Hokage's reign, with the will of stupidity. This new leader, Danzo, has already tried to spy on this Uzukage. Danzo got caught, and this is likely to make the relations much worse. This Uzukage is no fool like Sarutobi. He knows that if he makes an alliance or something close to that, he will suffer for it, and Danzo will steal the village's secrets. Orochimaru told his assistant. What do we do now, Orochimaru-sama? Kabuto asked. I have heard that Sasuke-kun has left the village again. Kukuku, you know what to do. Orochimaru grinned evilly. I see, it will be done immediately, Orochimaru-sama. Kabuto obeyed and knew what his master had been planning. Soon the Sharingan will be mine. The snake declared. The great forest of Hi-no-Kuni 8 p.m. Sasuke simply tore at his head looking for power. He began to think about Orochimaru. The snake could give him a bit of power, but not nearly enough to defeat Itachi. He was half thankful that Naruto left, because as soon as Sasuke realized his so-called best friend was gone forever, his eyes developed into the Mangekyo, but through excessive use of it he started to lose eyesight, his sight was deteriorating. He had only one purpose in his life, to kill Itachi, so he didn't care for his eyesight much. After searching a couple of gambling casinos he couldn't find the slug Sannin, after searching a couple of hot springs he couldn't find the toad sage. He wondered if he ever would find them, and he suddenly remembered that if he found them, he'd likely find the Dobi. He'd also be blamed for making him banished. So he gave up chances of finding the Sannin. He also ran away from Konoha with no legitimate reason and would likely become missing nin in their bingo books. He could always go to a different village. Since Konoha was being crushed he could join Uzu, Kumo, Iwa, Suna or even Kiri. He arrogantly thought that he would be led in immediately and treated like royalty, because he was the last survivor of the Uchiha. He decided to think about it. Kiri is in the middle of a civil war and I'm not giving anything for those who aren't worthy of Uchiha blood. Kumo, I don't know, the Raikage would be quite happy with my blood, but I'm not sure he's worthy. The bastard Tsuchikage is not worthy of Uchiha blood at all, and I won't go to a place commanded by a coward. Suna has a weak cage, and I'll never go back to Konoha. Sasuke planned, he refused to go to Uzushiogakure, because no one had a clue about it. He decided to wander and find someone stronger than himself and make him train him. Konohagakure, one day after Sasuke's second runaway. Hokage-sama, Uchiha Sasuke has left the village and betrayed us. Kakashi, who was back from an A-rank assassination mission, told Danzo. I will send a retrieval team, tell them their orders are to bring Uchiha Sasuke alive. I am sending Aburame Shino, Hyuga Neji, Nara Shikamaru and Hyuga Hinata. Danzo said. Why would you send Hyuga Hinata? She is the clan head. Kakashi asked. Because I believe she is the strongest Hyuga in Konoha, and to counter the Sharingan we need the Byakugan. Danzo stated. Send me Danzo-sama, I must cleanse my sins. Kakashi pleaded, he wanted a chance to lecture Sasuke on how far he had fallen on his quest for power. No Kakashi, I believe you are needed elsewhere, here's an S-rank mission, you will leave the day after tomorrow. Danzo said emotionlessly. About the Uchiha, Hokage-sama, permission to speak my mind. Kakashi asked. Go ahead Hatake. Danzo told Kakashi. I wonder why you have not ordered him to be executed. The Sharingan is important, but is it so important that we must send shinobi off to their deaths? I believe Sasuke is as strong if not stronger than me. And with the Mangekyo Sharingan I believe he could defeat all of the people you have sent for. He does not consider them friends and will most likely kill them if they are defeated so they aren't thorns in his side later. And as you said Hinata is the strongest Hyuga, so we could lose her as well. Kakashi spoke. Danzo did not like what he was hearing. If Kakashi spoke with worry towards the Hyuga head, he had found out his plan. As soon as Danzo heard that Sasuke left he hoped to send the clan head to her death so he could regain support from the Hyuga clan, by bribing the new clan head and turning him into a corrupt leader. The Sasuke retrieval was considered an S-rank mission, even though Sasuke was alone, he had the powers of Amaterasu, Tsukuyomi and Susanoo, and those alone could make the whole retrieval team killed. Shino was somewhat angry to retrieve someone who betrayed Konoha not once, but twice. Neji, Hinata and Shikamaru were furious that he betrayed Konoha twice and was still asked to be retrieved, just because of his precious Sharingan eyes. Neji and Shikamaru especially, because they were on his last retrieval mission and risked their lives. Neji had almost died the last time they went to retrieve Sasuke. But they were ninja and ninja had to follow their Hokage. Hinata was extremely angry, because it was Sasuke's fault Naruto had to leave the village and she never got her chance to confess. The arrogant Uchiha caused too much trouble, but this was one step too far. Also, she thought that having the Sharingan, and being the last Uchiha was not a valid excuse to have a retrieval team sent after you. Kumogakure no Sato. The last Uchiha has been detected outside the village, sir. Reports say that he was wearing a headband with a slash on the Konohagakure sign. A Kumogakure ninja said to his Raikage. I see. Well, I actually have no interest in the Uchiha, he's a worthless unloyal whelp, who can't stay loyal and needs power to kill his brother at all times. If he can't stay loyal even the Mangekyo is no use. I can't believe Konoha is so easy to infiltrate these days. A said. Ship. Sir, at full speed it will take us another 5 hours to reach Mizu no Kuni. The captain of the ship informed the Uzukage. I see. I regret to inform you that all of you are just protection, to see if the leader of the rebellion tries anything, also to not make myself look like a complete fool. The leader would think I'm crazy if I told her I could wipe out entire armies on my own. However, you will aid the leader however she wants. The Uzukage told his group of 50 men. They all just nodded, although most of them were disappointed they wouldn't be fighting with the Uzukage. 5 hours later. Sir, we have arrived at Kiri. The captain said. We will now move to the headquarters of the rebel troops, they will be expecting us, as I have informed them of our arrival, we are not far, move out. The Kage ordered. So kid, this is the next step of your plan. Jiraiya told him. That's right, closer to peace. The Uzukage looked at the sky. I wonder kid, can you really bring peace? You have told me that I'd know your plan when the time comes. This sudden move is definitely your first step. There are only 2 ways to make a lasting peace. The peace of fear, or conquering all nations. I'm quite sure you and the Kyuubi would be enough to bring the peace of fear, so how are you gonna conquer all the nations? Let's see. Kiri Rebel Headquarters. Mei-sama, a small force of 50 soldiers bearing the headband of Uzushiogakure is approaching. A rebel informed. I didn't think they would actually come. The Uzukage assured me enough to shake the bloodline haters and ninja loyal to the bastard Yagura. 50 ninja is nowhere near enough to make a difference. I see, we will meet them with 50 of our own ninja. The leader of the rebellion force Terumi Mei commanded. Are you sure we should bring that many? They have nothing to gain by attacking us. The same rebel asked. Nothing except the whole chest we use for funding the army and all our bases in Kiri. Mei said. The rebel suddenly saw how stupid his question was and went to do his duty. Kami bless you, if you are here to help us, Kami curse you, if you are here to destroy us. However, I don't think you would be out in the open if you plan to destroy us with 50 ninja. A huge field near rebel headquarters 3 p.m. The 2 leaders came face to face, one blonde and one with auburn-colored hair, they marched towards each other. The blonde wore a mask and hid most of his hair except his chin-length bangs. He took his hat off to reveal almost golden spiky hair, much like his dad. Most of his features on his face were from his mom though. The side from Uzushiogakure wore headbands with a swirl engraved on it, while the rebels from Kurigakure wore headbands with 4 slits on it, 2 on each side. Canon Kurigakure headband. Mei-sama, I have come to aid you in your rebellion against the Yondaime Mizukage Yagura. The Uzukage said in a formal tone. Uzukage-sama, I mean no disrespect, but what is this? You told me you would be bringing enough soldiers to defeat the Mizukage, not 50, a tiny amount that is unlikely to survive. Mei Terumi said in a formal tone similar to the Uzukage's. Mei-sama, I'm quite confident this is all I need to bring Yagura to your mercy. The Uzukage replied. Are you sure? I do not have faith in 50 soldiers to bring down the force Yagura has, which is at least 12,000. Mei had a slight frown on her face. Let's make a bet. The Uzukage smirked slightly. A bet? Mei looked confused. If I can bring down the next army of soldiers Yagura sends single-handedly, then you have to formally apologize for doubting me. If I can't, then I'll give you a full 50 million ryo. The Uzukage lost his formal tone in that sentence. I accept. You said that you would do this all free of charge, but why? What do you have to gain? Mei questioned suspiciously. Simple. Friendship in this country. I know that if I ask Yagura for an alliance, he would never accept, unless I gave him all of the secrets of my village, that is currently unaffordable, therefore I would never gain any kind of friendship in this country unless a new Mizukage was chosen. I hope that answers all your questions. I suppose we will stay here for a month and then leave. The Uzukage explained, and then moved towards the base. Orders, Mei-sama, a rebel asked. Show them to their rooms and keep them under heavy surveillance so they don't try anything. The leader ordered. All this time Jiraiya was using a genjutsu that made it look like he wasn't doing anything, when he was actually writing ideas. Not that the Uzukage was oblivious though. The Uzukage went behind Jiraiya and one word came out of his mouth. Punishment. One word also came out of the Toad Sage's mouth. Mercy. Raiden. Senin Garashi, lightning release. 1,000 years of death, the Uzukage used 2 fingers that were absolutely straight and charged up with lightning chakra, and then he stabbed them into Jiraiya's rectum. The porn writer automatically flew into the air, without his notes, holding his electrocuted butt and screaming out loud. A lot of people were laughing, while some wondered what it was about. The Uzukage picked Jiraiya's notes up. He looked at them. A woman with auburn hair, beautiful eyes and blood-red lips who is leader of a rebellion makes a bet with another leader. The bet is if she wins she gets a lot of funds for her rebellion. If he wins, Naruto stopped right there and refused to read any longer. He ripped it up and stepped on it. Stupid pervert, I'll tell Ba-chan everything that happened today and he'll get a proper beating, not a super powerful spoke. On a completely different note, I wonder how my friends in Konoha are doing. The outskirts of the great gates of Konoha 4 p.m. Shikamaru-san, this is nostalgic. Neji said to the Nara. So, troublesome, a repeat, except we have to fight the Mangekyo this time and there's absolutely no way we can allow him to use any of the techniques, so I have a plan. You too, he pointed to the Byakugan users. We'll close the chakra points leading to his eyes while I'm using the Kajimane to hold him. Shino will be the distraction. He'll use his bugs to annoy Sasuke and divert his attention so I can do a Kajimane on Sasuke. Shikamaru finished explaining his plan. Shikamaru-san, you have plenty of holes in that plan, so I suggest we use smoke bombs or the Kurigakure no Jutsu to cover the Sharingan, while you use your Kajimane to get him. Neji told Shikamaru. Unfortunately, we can't do that as it gives Sasuke the opportunity to simply shunshin out of the smoke. Shikamaru replied. All 4 of us can easily take Sasuke down when he doesn't have the Sharingan, and if you close all Sasuke's chakra points then he can't shunshin, and with taijutsu alone he is no match for us. Shikamaru continued. That is logical. Shino simply said in affirmative. Hinata said nothing and neither did Neji. Let's go. The faster this is over the less troublesome it'll be. Shikamaru said. All the others on his team nodded. 6:32 p.m. Mizu no Kuni, Rebel Base, Sunset. Mai-sama, an army of about 400 shinobi in 4 100-person divisions are approaching. They are all ninja loyal to the current Mizukage. The rebel informed. Get 200 shinobi down there and fast. Do everything you can to halt their advance. Mai commanded. What she didn't notice was a certain blonde-haired shinobi on a hill overlooking the huge field in front. Jiraiya approached her. He knew that Naruto would probably fry him if he tried anything perverted alone with the Mizukage and was quite sure that she would boil him. Terumi-san, call your soldiers back, the Uzukage will handle this. Jiraiya said. No, he can't handle this on his own. The only shinobi that were ever capable of going against such an army in history were Senju Hashirama, the Shodai Hokage, the Sandaime Raikage, the Yondaime Hokage and the Red Death, and Rakudo Sennin. Mai answered in negative. What makes you think he isn't better or as great as one of them? Jiraiya smiled. Mai just looked at the pervert with pure confusion. Out on the battlefield, the rebels will fall this time. The leader of the army declared, raising his lance. The rebels will fall. The rebels will fall. The rebels will fall. His army chanted. They noticed a blue-eyed blonde-haired ninja with the whirlpool headband jump off the hill and face them. The whole army howled with laughter. 1 shinobi from the whirlpool against 400 from Kiri. Get out of here, kid. You're a goner. The leader said. The Uzukage replied by raising an open palm, making clouds circle his open palm from the sky. The Uzukage closed his eyes for 5 seconds. White and gray markings appeared around his eyes and his iris turned gray. His pupil slit just a little bit. All these markings signified him entering Sage mode. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Technique. 5 clones of the Whirlpool Kage appeared. All of them raised an open palm to the sky. What the F is he doing? A drunk man said. Maybe performing a jutsu. A smarter guy suggested. Hurry up and stop him. The leader shouted out. A couple of men ran, but got blasted back by the raw power the Uzukage emanated. They also lost their will to fight back and ran away. I don't want to show my abilities to these Kiri guys, so the best way to do that is Ninpo. Kurigakure no Jutsu, ninja art, hidden mist technique. The whole area was covered in mist, no one could see anything in it. You wanna beat us with our own jutsu? Dream on, kid, the size might be good, but I'm an expert with this jutsu, there's no way you can beat me with it. A crazy ninja yelled. Arrogant prick like Sasuke Tem. Naruto thought as he took his sword out with the hand that wasn't raised in an open palm. Tenkai, heaven's lightning, the open palm was brought to the Uzukage's waist. A crackling sound was heard as the clouds circling his palm grew black and lightning fell from them. A large single bolt of lightning annihilated 1/4 of the total population of the army. From then, everything in the army descended into chaos. Everyone was firing jutsu everywhere. It didn't matter if they hit someone or anything, they just wanted to walk away alive. Naruto was rather compassionate, and didn't want to kill them all, but he knew if he wanted to show the Uzukage he could single-handedly wipe an army out, he couldn't leave a single alive. A couple of jutsus flew at the Uzukage, but his sword of the whirlpool absorbed all of them. It absorbed all jutsus that he had an affinity for. This ability wasn't extremely useful to the previous users, as they usually had water and wind affinities. Some of them rarely had earth, but that was it. However, the Uzukage had 3 affinities. Wind was his first, lightning was his second, and water was his third. Naruto simply walked into the mist with a single kunai and multiplied into 600 upon entering the mist multiple shadow clone technique without any hand seals, and simply slaughtered the rest of the 258 that remained. He brutally destroyed them with a kunai, refusing to stain his blade, put it back into the hilt. That's insane. He can summon lightning from the sky. Natural lightning. The leader of the rebellion yelled, watching from the glass window. I told you so. Looks like you'll have to formally apologize to him. Jiraiya grinned. When the mist cleared, the Uzukage was the only one standing, panting heavily. The army of 200 mist shinobi arrived just then and started. When the mist cleared, the Uzukage was the only one standing, panting heavily. The army of 200 mist shinobi arrived just then and started yelling victoriously. Outskirts of Odo, the Valley of the End, 8 p.m. Dobi, things were actually more interesting when you were here. Sasuke glanced at the small crater that Naruto made in the cliff with Uchiha Madara holding 2 fingers up on it, when he used the Rasengan. I don't think you're actually alive right now, or you'd be somewhere in High no Kuni trying to see your dumbass friends. You were an idealist like the stupid old Kami no Shinobi. But understand that I do need power to kill my brother, and you stood in the way, so I beat you down until you started using the red chakra like a cheating scum. Sasuke frowned as the memory wasn't pleasant. At least I did gain power, but I'm not sure that I'm on par with Itachi yet. Sasuke continued to talk to himself, when suddenly a smoke bomb was hurled in the air. Uchiha Sasuke, Orochimaru-sama would like you to surrender. He can offer you power if you come with us. A voice told Sasuke. Really, Kabuto? Well, tell Orochimaru that I don't need his help at all. He's nothing more than a pathetic weakling unworthy of Uchiha blood. I can't believe you work for a sick pedophilic snake like him. Sasuke laughed maniacally. The smoke cleared, revealing Kabuto and Gurren from Three Tails filler arc. How dare you insult Orochimaru-sama? Gurren bursted out. Sasuke simply changed from his normal Sharingan to his Mangekyo Sharingan. Tsukuyomi, god of moon. Gurren found herself in front of Sasuke. For the next 72 hours I can do whatever I want to you. I control time and space here. Time passes how fast I wish it to, Sasuke said in an Itachi-like tone. You will be shown what Orochimaru does on a daily basis. Sasuke smirked, making Gurren see all of Orochimaru's pedophilic experiments, and went into detail. No, you're lying. Orochimaru does not do these experiments. Gurren cried out. For the next 45 hours Gurren was tortured with mental pain until she gave in. Then she was tortured physically, seeing at least 30 Sasukes with spears in their hand, sipping her apart. Then she found herself healed, and had to endure that again. Every time was 1 second, so she had to sit through 45 hours of watching Orochimaru experiment, mutilate and torture humans of all sizes, and then she had to endure being ripped apart 97,200 times. Naturally, she went into a coma, as she mentally couldn't take it. Sasuke knew about the pedophile's experiments, because he was considered a highly important elite Jonin of Konoha and a clan head, so he was let on a lot of the village's secrets. The only thing that even the Hokage didn't know about was the Yondaime's heir, because Tsunade took it so the old war hawk wouldn't know. Damn it, one Tsukuyomi and I probably will also go. Kabuto muttered worriedly. Oh no, Kabuto, I plan to have you burn until not a bit of you is left. Sasuke grinned maniacally. Amaterasu, god of sun, Kabuto suddenly began burning, burning to death although his regeneration ability slowed it down. Sasuke's right eye began to bleed out of control. Doden. Mogurgake no Jutsu, Earth Release. Hiding like a mole technique, Kabuto managed to escape from being completely burned by shedding his skin underground. Damn it! Skin shedding. The Uchiha scowled, he was steadily losing vision and saw mostly a blur and needed glasses to see properly. Naturally he refused, so Danzo had to make him wear contact lenses, but the Hokage feared that if he continued using such techniques, he would lose his eyesight altogether, and the only people with Mangekyo Sharingans were Danzo, Shisui's eye, Sasuke, full set, and Itachi, full set in the other eye of Shisui, and Kakashi, Obito's right eye. For this reason Sasuke would always be sent to kill Itachi, as Danzo knew about the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Most of the ninja who knew Naruto and viewed him in a good light, hated Danzo. The academy instructors were rather useless and Iruka was fired as an academy instructor and put into active shinobi duty, because Iruka held the will of fire strongly, and he refused to let people lose all their emotions. For this reason until Konohamaru graduated, Iruka was still teaching. When the fresh batch of genin arrived that year retaining all their emotions, Danzo was absolutely furious and fired Iruka. Danzo became the Hokage 1 year after Naruto's banishment through the use of Shisui's eye. It meant the W Pearl to the Hokage, the only things he had to fear were the destruction of Konoha and Shisui's eye. He knew if Shisui's eye was discovered Sasuke would be screaming for his blood and the older council members, who knew Shisui would suspect him of using his ocular powers and remove him from the office. The Uchiha went on his way, unaware of the retrieval team coming his way. Kurigakure, Mizukage's office. That force should have wiped out the rebel base, or at least hurt it bad, so I can send in another force to wipe them out. The Jinchuriki of the Sanbi, and the Yondaime Mizukage Yagura spoke to himself. I have received urgent note from one of our camps near the rebel base, Mizukage-sama. The shinobi said. Give it to me. The Mizukage said, expecting it to be victory. He opened the letter and looked at it in horror. Mizukage-sama. It appears that Uzushiogakure is helping the rebels, likely to form some kind of alliance afterwards. The army of 400 trained shinobi failed to make a dent on the rebel base, as the Uzukage took them all out single-handedly. It appears that not a single shinobi returned. As you are aware, the base is only a few hours away from the village. I only know this as if the army was alive they would be back by now. So I suspect that they are all dead or captured. Errata of the Mist, 12 a.m. The Mizukage began writing a letter furiously. Uzukage-sama, you have attacked my people, and that alone can be a declaration of war. And my reports say that you are siding with the rebels, that means that you are against me, unless you have a valid reason to do so, this is an official declaration of war. Mizukage of Kurigakure. Yagura, send this to the fastest possible bird. The Mizukage commanded. Understood, sir. The man left to do his duty. The Mizukage brought the bingo book out and looked at 2 pages of it. Terumi Mei. Real name. Terumi Mei. Abilities. Cage level. Bloodlines. Dual bloodline, Fudan and Yoden. Highly skilled in using both elements and has a high affinity for water, earth and fire. Knowledge of skills. All that has been seen of her abilities is mostly Kekkei Genkai, but with the skill she uses the jutsu, it is believed that she is highly skilled in ninjutsu. Also her good chakra control may suggest genjutsu. Taijutsu is unknown, other proficiencies are unknown. Status. Formerly an elite Jonin of the Mist, currently S-rank criminal with kill on-site orders. Physical identification. Green eyes, auburn hair tied in a herringbone, usually seen with blue outfit. Chakra levels. Unknown, formerly decent. Chakra control. Excellent. Family. Kazan clan. Name was changed into Terumi to protect against bloodline haters, as well as the enemies the clan made. Rank. S. Uzukage of Uzushiogakure. Real name. Unknown. Abilities. Unknown, but suspected to be above cage level. Bloodlines. Unknown, but rumors state that he can easily heal most damage done to his body. This is believed to be speculation. Knowledge of skills. Unknown, the Raikage is the only one who may know about his skills. Status. Currently Uzukage of Uzushiogakure, formerly unknown. Physical identification. Blue eyes and blonde hair. Chakra levels. Most likely massive if rumors are true, but unknown. Chakra control. Unknown. Family. Unknown. Bounty. None. All bounties are eliminated when someone reaches Kage status. Rank. SS, due to his feat of wiping out the Raikage's army single-handedly. The Mizukage banged his hand on his desk. The bingo book was basically rubbing it in his face that he has no chance against his foe, the Uzukage. I shouldn't send an army against them, because they seem to be powerful, if they're confident enough to send their own Kage over to my country. What do I do? He started to think of a plan. With the retrieval team. My Kikaichu bugs have spotted him, as they can travel much faster than us. He is near Oto, in the Valley of the End. Shino informed his team. We are not far, Shino-kun. Hinata stated. Let's end this quickly, this repetition with the troublesome Uchiha is too troublesome to handle. Shikamaru said lazily. I have spotted him, he is 20 kilometers to the east, he appears to be sitting on some kind of rock, perhaps reflecting back on his and Naruto-kun's fight. Hinata said. Let us hope he does not try to join Orochimaru a second time. Neji spoke up. Remember the troublesome plan Shino distracts him, I bind him, and you two shut off his chakra system and knock him out, then we bring him back to Konoha. Shikamaru reminded. The four continued until Shikamaru's foot stepped on the ground and it made a large creaking noise that could be heard from a long distance, at least 1 kilometer. They were about 1 kilometer from where Sasuke was, so that meant trouble. A rock in the Valley of the End. Shit, someone's here. I hope it's someone pathetic, that I don't need the Mangekyo Sharingan against. Sasuke thought. Sasuke drew out his sword and stood there waiting. With Shino, Hinata, Neji, and Shikamaru. Damn it, now that Sasuke knows we're here, we need a different plan, God how troublesome. Maybe I should become a farmer after this. Shikamaru whined. I have an idea, Shikamaru-san. We can still use the same plan, except Sasuke will attack us, and so we need to be on our guard. Shino suggested. I suppose we have no time to think of a plan, so let's just go along. Plans have a tendency to fail when up against the Uchiha. Neji said. The retrieval team suddenly found themselves confronted by a tall raven-haired man that looked like he had a duck on his head. You four are the pathetic retrieval team that worthless rat Danzo sent to get me. Sasuke growled. Uchiha-san, if you surrender now then we will not harm you. Shino took the normal approach. No, I will not surrender. The Uchiha drew his sword. Kujimane no Jutsu, Shadow Poseidon Technique, 8 large tentacle shadows made their way towards Sasuke's shadow. All Sasuke did was a quick movement to the side and a swipe forcing Shikamaru to jump up in the air, losing temporary control over his shadow possession. Hinata proceeded to close all his chakra points with the Jiyuken, but Sasuke noticed this and moved to kick her eyes so she would be blinded. Sweden. Mizoripa water release. Violent water wave. Hinata's water jutsu pushed Sasuke to the ground, making him lose balance. I suppose I better finish this quickly. Sasuke muttered as he began running through hand seals for his next jutsu. Kaden. Ruka no Jutsu, fire release. Dragon flame jutsu. Sasuke pointed his head up and launched a burning flame up in the air to make the temperature of the air above them rise. Damn it, Kirin. Neji yelled and quickly jumped at him with the intent to close most of his chakra points. Haijutsu. Mushitatsumaki, secret technique. Insect tornado. Shino's insects made a huge tornado, heading straight for Sasuke. Shino-kun, we aren't supposed to kill Uchiha Sasuke. Hinata said. It is logical that we don't kill him, however we must take the illogical decision if we wish to survive. Shino stated. Your insect tornado was worthless, so die. The Uchiha yelled. Susanoo, he with the ability to help by all means, a large chakra entity began to form around Sasuke, as both his Mangekyo eyes began bleeding. If this is what he uses, we have no choice. Shino said, making a few hand seals and vanishing from view. Crap, we don't have a choice, how troublesome. Shikamaru quickly shunshined, along with Hinata and Neji. Hokage's office 3 hours later. You failed. You know how valuable an Uchiha is now. Danzo emotionlessly spoke. Uchiha-san used Susanoo, our only choice was to escape. Shino said. I see. I expect your full report tomorrow. Danzo told the team. Battleground, Kusagakure. Nara Shikaku was currently in a tent, over at Kusagakure. He was thinking in his mind. We're all old now, yet we still have to fight these bloody wars. I guess I know how Sakumo feels now. Kazuki, Minato, Kushina, Sandaime, Nadaime, Shodai, would you not be disappointed that most of the village failed to carry the will of fire? Minato, would you stare at me with angry eyes and tell me I should have done more for you, son? I did figure out about it when he was 12, but I couldn't prevent his banishment. Hell, he might even be happier now wherever he is. The Akatsuki were looking for him, so there's a possibility he isn't even alive. Kushina, would you kill me, because I didn't find out he was your son earlier? So troublesome, I better go to sleep. Kakashi's tent. Hitaki Kakashi was looking at the stars, they annoyed him greatly, but he kept looking at them. One alignment looked like Minato, if you joined the stars it would look like he was happy, the other alignment next to Minato's looked like Kushina, if you joined the stars she would also be smiling. The last one looked like a young Naruto, the hands of his parents were hugging him. This odd alignment looked strange to Kakashi, but he ignored it. Minato-sensei, have I become an utter hypocrite? I abandoned Naruto completely and failed to teach him anything significant. If that is the case then Obito would be the best of us, even Rin had more faults than Obito. Obito, the dead last was actually the best of us, not in skill, but in heart. I concentrated on Sasuke, who went rogue and betrayed the village, not once, but now the recent twice. Sakura is still a chunin who is still a fangirl after all these years. You were almost perfect, Minato-sensei, the only problems you had were in me. I am a sucker and a dumbass, that's worse than a dead last. Kushina-san, you would be happy to know that Uzushiogakure has been rebuilt, and is now even better than Konoha. Kakashi, a voice was heard behind Kakashi. What is it? Kakashi snapped out of his thoughts. Is this about Naruto? The person, who was called Shiranui Genma, asked. No, Kakashi responded quickly. Kakashi, don't lie to me, I know you're brooding about how you failed Naruto, I will tell you this, let it go. Genma advised. I can't, I've been failing so many people. I've failed Obito, Rin, Sensei, Sasuke, Sakura, Naruto, and now we're failing in this war. Kakashi sorrowfully moaned. Kakashi, what we've done before is in the past, so keep it in the past. Genma consoled. I know, but I can't keep it all in, I'm a disgrace. Kakashi whined. Imagine your father, and what he would say if he saw you like this. Genma let those words slip, but immediately regretted it. My dad killed himself, because he couldn't bear the humiliation, so I think that because I haven't killed myself yet, he would call me quite strong. I have already failed the one who could have changed this war. He left 8 years ago, so in a way since I lost the one who could probably change this war in 2 Sannin. If I had just taught Naruto some useful stuff, or arrived earlier we wouldn't be here. So in a way, I have already done the same thing my father has, failed during a mission that could change everything. Except that I didn't save anyone. Kakashi angrily replied. Pull yourself together, since you don't have a jutsu to change the past you should think about the present. Genma replied to the outburst. HMPH, Kakashi grunted and went to sleep. I need to drink. Asuma and Kurenai's house. A small boy who was 3 years old looked at a picture. It was of a blonde man with a hat that said Whirlpool, and he wore a mask covering all his facial features. This boy had red eyes and black hair, his red eyes had rings on them. His hair resembled his father's. This boy went to bed where his parents were sleeping and jumped right in. Unknown area in Konoha. Finished writing the letter, Uzukage-sama will be pleased that my undercover mission is going quite well. No one has suspected me at all. The voice said.